And in goal, it's exactly the same way it looked last night. Hellebuyck with his 15th straight start tonight. If you look at that third line, we touched on them in the pregame. They were dominant last night. Lowry, Appleton, finally scored against the driver. Nino Niederreiter has been a terrific addition, as has Vladimir Mesnikov to help, at least for the time being, at second line center.
What's going on, everybody? John out here with you. It is the Winnipeg Jets and the Minnesota Wild. We will get into the particulars, but let me give you the starting lineup. So the Winnipeg Jets, 45, 32, and 3. They are fourth in the Central. It's Pierre Luc-Dubois, Kyle Connor, Mark Scheifele, with Josh Morrissey and Dylan DeMello. Vladimir Mesnikov, Nikolaj Ehlers, Blake Wheeler, Brendan Dillon, and Neal Pionk. Adam Lowry, Nino Niederreiter, Mason Appleton, Kevin Stenlund, Morgan Barron, and Saku Menelainen. Dylan Sandberg and Nate Schmidt close out the back end defense. And Connor Hellebuyck will be getting the start in net. For the Minnesota Wild, it sounds like this. Head coached by Dean Evason. They are 46, 24, and 10, third in the Central. It's Ryan Hartman, Kirill Kaprizov, Matt Zuccarello, with Jacob Middleton and Jared Spurgeon. Frederick Gaudreau, Marcus Johansson, and Matt Boldy, with Jonas Brodin and Matt Dumba. Marco Rossi, Marcus Foligno, and Sam Steele. Connor Dewar, Brandon Dumaine, and Ryan Reeves, with John Merrill and John Klingberg in the back end. There should be Marc-Andre Fleury in goal tonight for the Wild. So here's the situation at hand. These teams will meet for the fourth and final time, and Minnesota has dominated the first 3 games of the series. Winnipeg's just looking for any sort of result. A win would do them wonders. Now, as it is in the standings, Nashville is still technically alive, but they are going to need a ton of help. Both teams have 2 games left. If Nashville were to overtake Winnipeg, Winnipeg would have to get nothing in this game, nothing against Colorado, and Nashville would have to win both games in regulation. That is not likely. If the Winnipeg Jets get at least 1 point in this game tonight against Minnesota Wild, or 1 point against Colorado, they will take WC2. A win outright just gets it all done, and that's going to make game 82 meaningless. So that's what the Winnipeg Jets want. The advantage or disadvantage for both teams, if you want to put it that way, is both teams are coming off of a back-to-back. Both teams are also coming off of wins in their back-to-back. So I'll take you through that as well. For the Winnipeg Jets, they got a 6-2 victory over San Jose. Again, 2 points in any form, even 1 point. They're going to clinch WC2 and be done. But the Minnesota Wild have dominated the series so far, winning the first 3 games. Minnesota also played off the back-to-back. They were behind against the Blackhawks 2-1 by the second period, but it was flipped on its nose, and it's 4-2 win for the Wild. So Marc-Andre Fleury should be getting the start. And net Connor Hellebuyck is going to play off this back-to-back. He didn't have a particularly busy night last night, but it does make sense because the Jets need the point. The Wild, again, they're only 2 points away from the Central as far as getting things tied up, but they don't have any of the tiebreakers as well. So it's most likely that Minnesota will finish third in the Central. They're not going to go in the wild card spot. And the Winnipeg Jets only have 1 spot to get into, which is WC2. And all they need is 1 point tonight. So when we come back, that'll be puck drop, and we'll see what happens. We'll try to see if someone qualifies and finishes it all out in the West, because as we know from the result yesterday with Nashville, I know Cooper was only there for 1 period with me, but that's all done for the Calgary Flames. And Nashville is going to need a lot of help. The Winnipeg Jets get 1 point. It's done tonight. We'll be right back for a puck drop.
Good luck, Sophie. Time to introduce to you tonight's starting goaltenders. 13th straight start for Connor Hellebuyck. Last night he allowed 2 goals on 21 shots.
So it's Connor Hellebuyck, 36, 25, and 2, 2.52 goals against, 919 save percentage, and 4 shutouts for Connor. And on the other end is indeed the flower, Marc-Andre Fleury, 24, 15, and 4, 284 goals against, 909 save percentage, and 2 shutouts. He will be spelling Philip Gustafson off the back-to-back. David Riddick will not spell Connor Hellebuyck, but again, that is very understandable. So it is what it is right now for the Jets. They've been dominated in this series against Minnesota Wild, but they just need 1 point. That's all they need, and then they will be in WC2. So we're underway now. Matt Zuccarello will try to make this pass across to Ryan Hartman, and Hartman's got it as this bounces in between a couple skate blades and picked up now by the Jets and flipped it down the ice. And this will be immediately iced. 1942 in the first. And I'll have to look because right now I have the Sportsnet feed on ESPN Plus, but it's rather dark. So if we can flip it on the other side and get the Valley Sports feed, I'm gonna have to do that. So Minnesota, they're saying heavy, hard habits. They go for the body. They like to get a low-scoring game. And the Jets, they say get it going offensively. I think it makes a lot of sense in between the keys of the game. That's exactly what I'm thinking as well. Minnesota at home in the state of hockey. They're in the all green. The Winnipeg Jets are in the white away jerseys with the blue on the pants and the blue and white striping on the socks. As this is picked up now by Zuccarello and then picked up just before it crossed the blue line side, but the puck went up into the netting and we get another stoppage. So not even 24 seconds into this contest, we have two stoppages. When we get into the first intermission, I will have a little bit of an unfortunate announcement for you, but we are going to be getting through this game, and then hopefulsportsguide.wordpress.com will be the game story and the play-by-play. We're going to soldier through this tonight. As this is picked up now near the left side red line, Jets trying to locate this thing as Jared Spurgeon will send this around the inboards. This will go with the Wild. It was almost sticked away by Hartman and then sent back down the ice again for a third icing in 1918, a third stoppage at this point. So very tenuous for both teams off the back-to-back. Again, that's very understandable. Both teams also coming off of wins. The Minnesota Wild came back and beat the Blackhawks, and then the other, and the Winnipeg Jets dominated the San Jose Sharks 6-2. So defensive zone draw win by Winnipeg as they'll flip this across the glass. Can't get it out, but this will go to Dylan DeMello now. DeMello will skate across the red line as it's picked up by Jonas Brodin. He gets the interception. Brodin in behind the office of the Flower now. This will drop this pass off to the right wing, and Minnesota tries to get the entry right to left in this first frame. John Under with you on ESPN Plus. This is the Winnipeg TSN feed, but I might be switching over just in terms of color prospects of that. So picked up now by the Wild as Matt Boldy toward the sticks on the right side, trying to knock this away from Mark Scheifele, just holding the blue line up with a late rush. Minnesota was making their change for Dean Evason's squad on the back end. As this is picked off, Brodin will power this in off the back end near the left side faceoff. DeMillo will play this back to his defensive partner, get it back, and just chop at it, but it's intercepted by Foligno, and this is cut off 5-hole by Connor Hellebuck. He just made the save near the left side of the post, 18-20 in the first, and we get another stoppage. It'll be the first shot on goal of the game, and it belongs to Minnesota. So we're at Excel Energy Center right now. That's the site of it. Minnesota is going to have another one of these games, I believe, against Colorado at that point as well. But these are difficult schedules here toward the back end. But this is game 81 and game 82 for a lot of these teams right now. It's Dylan DeMello. Gets his blocked away. It was picked off by Hellebuck and then sent back to him. But it gets put in through the neutral zone now for Neal Pionk. And Neal Pionk gains the entry and slams this across the kick plate. And they did not gain the red line. 17:56, and we will go back the other way. 2-0 in favor of the Minnesota Wild. Dean Evason, career coach, and wins 142 right now. So we're dealing with darkened Pekingese dogs and everything else within this broadcast. I promise we will get through all of this right now as we take a look at some of the players on the bench. And another defensive zone faceoff win. This is DeMello one more time. This gets into the neutral zone. As Minnesota will collect with Jacob Middleton and send this back across to the defensive partner and Spurgeon. So slow start here. Connor Dewar trying to get things going here as Connor Hellebuck will send this back around to his offense. They'll be going left to right in this first period, the Winnipeg Jets, but it's very tenuous between both teams right now. And as you would expect, Minnesota does lock and key, but off the back-to-back, we will see how much energy both of these teams have. Big hit. Nate Schmidt be able to knock John Merrill on his heavily padded wall, and as Spurgeon able to keep this alive off of the windmill deke as Schmidt kind of got in his way near the left side of the wall. And now Winnipeg with Sacramento lineman will dump this into the Flower. He'll play it with the goal stick leading to the defense now. 17 minutes left to go in this first period. John here with you, commentating from the ESPN TSN feed right now. As this is cleared in, Spurgeon will watch this go near the right side wall, and the Jets will flip it back down. This could be a race for a hybrid ice It actually was canceled off, so we'll still be under play here. Middleton now trying to get around Nikolaj Ehlers as the Jets have now to the right side of the red line. Keep it alive now near the wall. As still trying to stay with it there is Adam Lowry. He gets tripped up a little bit. Middleton is in his face as he gets knocked down. And Zuccarello will take a look at it, but this will go with the Jets. They'll flip around and try to shoot this thing. It gets blocked. Pick up in the high slot. Dylan DeMello lets it go into the screen, but it hits the right side of the glass. Mason Appleton now gets through the couple of stick blades, and it goes all the way back to the right side of the blue line before a diving shot block sends it down for Morrissey. Morrissey gets it now. Here's the bomb. Picked up by the Jets in the slot. Scores! Jets did not stop working, and I think that's Adam Lowry's goal. It was a fortuitous bounce, but it was great work by the Jets to continue to keep the puck in the zone, and they draw first blood. 16:07 left to go in this first. Adam Lowry with a diving shot block will keep it alive. Mason Appleton down near the right side of the wall. Here comes the bomb as it was recollected, and then off with the deflection. It was Nito Niederreiter with a spin turnaround shot. Adam Lowry first to the rebound on the doorstep. Puts it past Marc-Andre Fleury, and it's a 1-0 lead for Winnipeg. So that's a good start for the Jets. Again, they just need 1 point. They get 2. They're going to clinch wild card 2, and this is all said and done. So we'll have back-to-back games where playoff spots were clinched or teams will be eliminated, and that's kind of what I was hoping for in doing the first 2 games to give you a little bit of intrigue for those that follow along on Twitter Spaces and YouTube at John Reinott. Here's Minnesota now on their own end. We'll see if they can answer. Again, Minnesota, they do have something to play for, but in all likelihood, they will not get the second or first seed in the Central. Boldy, here's a cross pass, and this goes just wide of the right side of the crease that Connor Hellebuck was. Minnesota now starts the wheel and deal on the left side of the wall, and this gets recollected by Pionk. Jets trying to get this out of their own end. They have 1 shot and 1 goal. As this is slapped out of the air from a sauce pass, Brodin will go from a severe angle, and that bounces off the right side of the glass as the Wild stay with it. So now they have some possessions. This will go D-to-D. Frederick Gaudreau fake the slap shot. He's still patient with it now near the right dot. He's bumped off the puck by Brandon Dillon, and now the Jets will collect this across the red line. Mark Scheifele keeps it alive off the backhand. A little bit of miscommunication there with Kyle Connor, but it's a 3-on-2. The Jets have a 3, and the Wild go offside. So 14:50 in first. Minnesota Wild got 3 shots. Winnipeg's got 1 shot, 1 goal, courtesy of Adam Lowry. That was good work from the Niederreiter line, Adam Lowry, everybody else. They kept that alive with Morrissey. And the shot from Niederreiter in the middle of the slot gets deflected. Lowry picks it up and puts the rebound past the Flower, and that's where we are right now. So it's a offensive zone draw win. Marco Rossi able to get a piece of it, but the Jets will clear it out. Jacob Middleton leaves it here for Marco Rossi as this bounces off the right side of the wall, and here's a race for Sam Steele. Now near the right side of the faceoff dot, it's Jacob Middleton. He'll fire through the traffic. This one bounces off of Dewar, and the Jets will try to get this one out as it's picked up near the right side of the wall, and now Lowry is offside. It's 14:24 in the first. It's still 3 shots to 1. Winnipeg has the lead. Again, they get 1 point of any variety tonight. Even a win will get this done. That's what they want, because they want to get a win against Minnesota. They haven't done so in the season series, but 1 point of any variety will clinch WC2, and that's where they're going to be. They can't move any higher. 14:24 in the first. John here with you on the play-by-play. Thank you for joining me tonight. It's Kevin Stenlund in for the neutral zone draw against Dewar. So Dewar is waiting here. Sacramento lining, and there was other company there from Minnesota pushing a little bit on this face-off. A little bit of a warning there from the Zebras, because you're going to get a kick out, you get an automatic penalty on that side, and that's going to be done. You can't get kicked out twice. So here's Brandon Dumaine against Kevin Stenlund, and the forward lost it to the centerman. That's how it usually goes. Stenlund wins it, but neutral zone pickup here. Here comes the Minnesota Wild. There's Dewar off the pass out of the air, off the sauce, and this gets recollected here by the Winnipeg Jets. Stenlund, he overskates it, allows Dewar to clear as it touches the stick of Connor Hellebuck. 14 minutes left to go in this first frame. Still 3 shots to 1. That's all we got right now, almost through 7 minutes of action. Here comes Dylan DeMello. He's going to be the quarterback here off of the stretch pass from 50 feet, but it eludes everybody as Wheeler Can't locate it, but it's in behind the office here. As this is picked off now, Stenlund trying to get this across D-to-D. Here's DeMello with the ricochet, and that goes off the left pad of Marc-Andre Fleury and sent back down by Dylan DeMello. Winnipeg will get some wholesale line changes as DeMello is offsides alongside with the rest of these Jets. That's the third time they've done so. Let's go to commercial break. The Jets are out in front, 1-0 in the first.
We switched to Liberty Mutual and saved $652. They customize your car insurance so you only pay for what you need. With the money we save, we modify our life to keep a cycle. Careful, babe. Saving is definitely easier.
Hey, babe, I think I got it. It's
Okay, show off. Only pay for what you need. I'm Dan Patrick, and this is big, but you'll only find it here.
Champion Automotive Group Pre-Owned.
Champion Trevor's Light Pre-Owned comes with lifetime powertrain protection, 10-year roadside assistance, and more. And you'll only find it at Champion.
Over 1,000 pre-owned to choose from.
With 7 convenient locations, you win big. At Champion Auto Group, you always finish first. Log on championautoinc.com.
Next on Behind the Series. My ears are playing. That 22 draft was something special.
If I hadn't seen it in person, I wouldn't have believed it.
Where can I eat your stuff?
The monster. It was scary good.
The Outlaw? Philly had beef with them. That beef.
The Wells Fargo Active Cash Card. Earn 2% cash back on what you want, like a vintage turntable, so you can get back into buying next choice.
Energy Center here in St. Paul. Some Jets fans hoping that Winnipeg will pick up at least a point and get into the playoffs. Well, there's 4 fans in Oakville, Manitoba. They're fired up tonight at the Oakville Arena. The Jets town takeover. Jets alumni Derek Beach, Eric Fear are there, and boy, if that could be one of the places in your camp, that'd be the place to be tonight. It looks like a great time, doesn't it? That's just awesome. I think they're just excited because they just saw you on TV. That's what I think it is. They're making fun of the stain on my tie that they saw in the pregame. Somebody had to see that.
So we're back underneath the action now. It's a neutral zone draw that gets recollected by the Wild and slammed down the kick plate as Connor Hellebuyck will touch. They'll leave us to the defensive partner off of a long pass, and now picked up near the right side of the wall as it gets knocked away from Dylan DeMello and Nino Niederreiter. Here's a shot now that gets blocked as the Jets will try to take this the other way. As it's picked off, Brandon Dumaine will try to be the first to get to it. Man, my windows on the computer are really messing up here right now. I have to do a restart. As this is flipped up by Dylan DeMello, and now he's got this in his own end. It is a slow start right now, admittedly, but that is what we're seeing right now as this is collected by Neal Pionk. They took a long time off of the breakout opportunity, but this will allow the Wild to recollect this in their own end with Marc-Andre Fleury. Here's a chance for Jared Spurgeon. He joins off the rush. It's a drop pass. Some good work there for Dewar. Here's the fake slap, and the Jets will just throw a stick at it, but they're not going to be able to clear this out as the Wild have some puck possession as this bounces off of Dobson and now recollected by the Jets. Mark Scheifele tries to get a race for it, but this will fall to the flower, and they'll send this back around the inboards now. This will be recollected by Scheifele, and that is a humongous glove save by Marc-Andre Fleury. He does the flash where he spins it all the way around and shows the puck, and that is enough to be able to get the job done on that end, and we get an offensive zone draw upcoming. So the Jets, admittedly, all they need to do is get 1 point in this game to be able to get the job done. So far, so good. We will see if that continues to be the case for it, as this is an opportunity off an offensive zone draw here for the Jets. And we'll see if someone's going to get kicked out there. Looking at Marc-Andre Fleury right now on the Winnipeg side for TSN cameras, as this is won by the Wild. And Spurgeon, captain, will recollect. He'll throw this back to his defensive partner in Jacob Middleton. And we'll start again, but not before he'll peel back into his own end behind the fly. So Middleton, he's being harassed by a couple of offensive forecheckers, one of them being Ehlers. This is collected now by Johansson toward the right side wall. Here's the sauce pass, and then one of the Jets defenders stood in the right spot as it's sent back around. That was Vlad Nemestikov. They got a piece of it. Here's a long slapper, and Spurgeon was able to walk right into it, but this bounces in the netting. They get a stoppage at 11:37. There we go. Now the window's going to load. So Marc-Andre Fleury, 2007 to 2023, most consecutive years in the playoff and NHL history. How about 17 straight for the Flower here? Larry Murphy, 18 on that side. That was a defenseman for the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Red Wings. So that was all company on that side. 17 years for Marc-Andre Fleury. And that might be his last. That's what they say. He's going to retire with the Wild. He likes it here. As this is collected now by the Wild and their own end is Foligno. Gets a chance to hold on behind the office. Neal Pionk trying to cut him off with a little bit of a body contact and a hold in behind Connor Hellebuyck. And the referee is making sure this puck is still moving. They can blow this dead at any time if there isn't any. And now Marco Rossi will send this back around. Here's a bomb of a slap shot, and Hellebuyck saw it in amongst the Redwoods. There was Foligno there. There was Rossi there off the bomb. John Klingberg was the one that let it go, but it's saved by Hellebuyck with 11:02 in the first. So I appreciate you guys following along on Twitter Spaces and YouTube. If you want to interact with me on the Twitter Spaces side, it's the same as the handle. John Ryan Ott, all one word, if you want to be able to join in here with me. Again, I will have an announcement at the end of the first period. Stay tuned for that. It's not so great news, but I have to let everybody know if you're still following along at that point. But we will finish off this first period play-by-play. We're almost at the halfway marker. As this is cleared by the Jets, they will get a chance to get a piece of it now, and behind the office of Connor Hellebuyck. And now Spurgeon will send this back around as one of the Jets knocks down. It was one of the Wild back up there in front. Here's a race for the puck, but it'll be Marc-Andre Fleury near the right side circle. He'll just play this off the end boards. Rossi tries to bank it out, and Scheifele will get it, but this bounces past the blue line of Morrissey. We'll have to go back into the neutral zone and pick it back up as the Wild send this back around. And this will go to Jonas Brodin and the defensive partner of Matt Dumba. So Dumba now, he'll be patient. You got Vlad Nemestikov is the one that's going to forecheck. This kind of reminds me of when the Tampa Bay Lightning played in the Stanley Cup Finals against the Avalanche. Anytime they were at Amalie, they took a long time in behind their breakouts. And even at Ball Arena, they'd be steadily booed. Both of these teams are doing so right now, looking for a patient breakout bomb pass as Dean Evason looks on. 10:08 left to go in the first. John, are you with you on the call? It is a slow and tenuous start. But you can imagine that both teams have just played last night, and they got to play now. It's a very meaningful game for Winnipeg. They get a point in any variety. They are in WC2. They can move no higher. So there'll be an opportunity here for Dewar on the draw, but he gets punched out, it looks like. And this will be picked off by the Jets. This will be sent back down into the defensive zone, and they can look to start again left to right. Here's Wheeler with a stretch pass. And now we'll pull it back. Here is Ehlers, and they'll get this across the right side of the wall, but this gets intercepted in the Wild. They don't have numbers, but they'll chip this in deep, and a hand is in the air. I think this one is going to be called a power play. Will be picked up here, and I will see if this gets clarified. So when we go to back from the break, somebody's going on the power play, and once that gets updated, I'll let you know who it is.
Cashback is good. Double cashback is even better. Discover matches all the cashback you've earned at the end of your first year, which is cashback at its best.
I'm Dan Patrick, and this is big, but you'll only find it here.
Champion Automotive Group Pre-Owned.
Champion Checkered Flag Pre-Owned comes with lifetime powertrain protection, 10-year roadside assistance, and more. And you'll only find it at Champion.
Over 1,000 pre-owned to choose from.
With 7 convenient locations, you win big. At Champion Auto Group, you always...
I don't know if it was the computer part of it or my CBS Sports depth chart, but these windows have been flashing, not to the point of delirium here. They just wouldn't load as far as the depth charts were concerned, so I've been trying to fight through that. And once these batteries die on this recorder side, we'll get that one replaced too. So everything is going to be hitting all at once on that side. So I thank you for bearing with me.
And bounty is 2 times more absorbent, so you can use less and get the job done with more. This works.
So in this question, I said, do you think the Winnipeg Jets score an upset in the postseason, assuming they get into WC2? And 2 votes, two of you say yes. If we look into the NHL wild card, and it stays at 2 because that's where the Winnipeg Jets will be. They will match up with the team with the most points. That would be the Vegas Golden Knights. If it ended today, I was the one that said I think the Jets can actually beat the Golden Knights because of the personnel that they have. But we'll have to figure that out when we get to it.
They were 0 for 1 last night in that 4-2 victory against Chicago in the power play. Recorded Jets 3 for 4 on the hill last night in the 6-2 win against the San Jose Sharks.
So Blake Wheeler gets busted for a hook on Brandon Dumaine. That will put the Wild on the power play. And here's a quick little wrister toward the right circle, and that's fired on the left side of the glass. And Minnesota will start again. It's the first power play of the contest. It's 9:30 left to go in the first, as this will be sent back down. And Minnesota will have to get there in time, as it's Kirill Kaprizov. First time they're able to call his name, as Minnesota just got a few of their other normal forwards into the lineup. Maybe they were getting a little bit of a rest as well. You can do so because Minnesota's probably stuck where they are. Here's a shorthanded opportunity off the skate, but this gets recollected away from Adam Lowry, and now it's Matt Zuccarello. This will be sent back here for John Klingberg, and all the way back here for Kirill Kaprizov. You know who the master of the power play is there, as he gains the entry, drops it onto the right wing and out of the right D side, as this is shot on, and this is blocked by Dillon, but this will be recollected now by the Minnesota Wild. Here's an opportunity, as they'll send this back across here for Matt Zuccarello. Now on the high slot, it's John Klingberg. Now back to Zuccarello near the left side dot, trying to find a pass in the middle of the circle. That was Jared Spurgeon. And this is sent back down the ice by the Winnipeg Jets. They get the clear that they need. Still 35 seconds left to go in the first power play of the contest. John, I'm here with you watching this one on the TSN side. We will see if we continue to stay with that. I might flip the Minnesota feed because it's pretty dark on this one, as I said. As it's now Jared Spurgeon trying to get a chance for the puck, as Sam Steele's also out there as well. Dean Evason making a little bit of change with Foligno. Neal Pionk trying to locate it. It's just a massive humanity behind the office near the left post of Connor Hellebuck. But now Minnesota, the all-green jerseys, will get this across. You have the dark green and the forest green a little bit as the color scheme. As this bounces away from Spurgeon, recollected now by Foligno, given back to Jared. He'll send this pass across the right side. Here comes the slap shot, and this gets deflected. The penalty is over, and this will be a chance for Blake Wheeler to get back on the ice. There he is, near the right side of the dot, as the Jets try to get this out of their own end. But it's a Minnesota Wild stick that brushes this in deep, and then Spurgeon, he's been up it for a long time. As this gets picked off by the Jets, and they'll try to hold this near the right side of the boards. Sent back around here. Minnesota will chase it, trying to ever push this in deep and behind the office of Hellebuck. 7:15 left to go in the first, as the Jets will finally collect, and it looks like they'll be able to flip this down with Dylan Sandberg, but it only gets them through the neutral zone, as Minnesota doesn't really give the Jets quarter just yet, and they push it back into the defensive zone. Jets. Sandberg with his outstretched pass. They gain the red line. Now they'll get in the offensive zone of the Jets, and both will pass in the middle. This will get picked off. It'll be Mark Scheifele, and now they'll look for Schmidt. And that was a great pass, and now Winnipeg scores. It's Mark Scheifele. I was so flabbergasted that the first pass actually found Nate Schmidt. It was a long outstretched pass, I believe, on the other end. I'm going to take a look at where this line is constructed. Maybe Pierre Luc-Dubois. So that was Dubois off the first. Here's Scheifele collecting the right side wall. Here's a long pass by Pierre Luc-Dubois, and it takes a crazy deflection again. It bounces off the outside of the cage off of the next pass attempt. It went from the right dot to the left dot back to the right, and on that second attempt to the right, it bounced off the outside of the cage and allowed Mark Scheifele to get an easy rebound, and it's a 2-0 lead for the Winnipeg Jets. They are doing themselves a humongous favor. It's just 4 shots to 4 But Winnipeg's got a 2-goal lead, and all they needed was 1 point. They're in a good position here to clinch WC2 and not have to worry about anything else. Game 82 is going to be completely meaningless because they can't move up or move down or anywhere else. So Domain will try to get this one out now as the Jets continue to press with Kyle Connor. Scheifele will sweep this around the end boards for Dylan DeMello. And now the slap shot through Morrissey through traffic. It bounces off the left side of the glass. As Scheifele looks to collect, the ref jumps out of the way and lets him pick this up off the forehand. The right-hand shot of Scheifele is kept now near the right side of the boards as they will continue to matriculate this thing around the horn. Good puck possession here by the Jets as it's Pierre Luc-Dubois finally got it rustled away from them as it's been all Jets. Again, it's only 4-4 on the shot board, and they got a couple of bounces, but you got to make your own luck. And that first and second line right now for Rick Bowness, they're doing a great job. So Kirill the Thrills got it now, and this is toward the left side of the end boards, and now this will go back in the high slot. Minnesota try to move this thing. Here's a wrist shot through traffic. It is collected now near the left side of the red line for Matt Zuccarello. Zuccarello, patient, will fire it into the screen, but all this does is hit the high end of the glass as Minnesota tries to push this back down deep. The Forest Green will collect now and spin this back around the end boards with Matt Zuccarello, but it's picked off by Neal Pionk and sent back down across the red line, and Wheeler will do the same. We'll push this in deep on the Minnesota end. 4:55 left to go in the first. Winnipeg enjoying a 2-0 lead now. Here's the entry. There's a chance for Jonas Brodin, and Hellebuck swallows it up, makes the save, and we get a stoppage at 4:49. Jets now up 2-0. They're feeling good. Mark Scheifele with the latest goal.
Cashback is good. With double cashback, it's even better. Discover matches all the cashback you earned at the end of your first year, which is cashback at its best.
I'm Dan Patrick, and this is big, but you'll only find it here.
Champion Automotive Group Trio.
Champion Checkered Flag Trio comes with lifetime powertrain protection, 10-year roadside assistance, and more. And you'll only find it at Champion.
Over 1,000 pre-owned to choose from.
With 7 convenient locations, you win big. At Champion Auto Group, you always finish first. Log on to championautoinc.com.
Buffalo Wild Wings is supposed to make a burger this good. Like, you might even forget we have wings good. So throw in 6 bonus wings for $1 at the end. Right in the
This Minnesota Wild team, third in the Central, down 2-0 tonight. And they interesting close to their schedule. Yesterday, the Wild finished and the Nats and the versus alternate. So they travel between every game is a little bit of a quirk in the schedule. I'm not sure that I've seen that before. You see, they will finish Thursday at Nashville. So interesting completion of the regular season for the Minnesota Wild. How about Matt Boldy last year, 39 points, 63 this year? But how about the Jets? Terrific start. Again, needing a point tonight to get into the playoffs.
Jets got to feel good right now as we come back from the break at 4:45 left to go here in this first. John on here with you. It's an opportunity for Winnipeg to clinch WC2 tonight and pretty much make game 82 meaningless. They can't move up or down. They got a 2-0 lead, and here's a rush by Minnesota, and that was an opportunity there for Dumba as this is picked up now by the Wild. Near the right side dot, they'll be patient and behind the net of Hellebuck. They'll take the wraparound. Still stay with it as John Klingberg. He rode that the whole way. Klingberg is going to dive. We try to knock this one down, and he does. They send this across the blue paint as this gets recollected off of a reverse hit. Winnipeg Jets were the ones that threw it, and Klingberg gets knocked down as this is recollected here by Morrissey. Morrissey now trying to get this out of his own end. Here's a pass attempt that almost brushes off the skate of one of the Jets, but it does create an opportunity for John Merrill to take some time in behind his office. Again, for Minnesota, they want to be able to feel good, but again, for Winnipeg, they haven't won a game in this series. This is the fourth and final meeting. Minnesota took the first three all pretty handily. So Winnipeg gets a chance to maybe finish it. They'd still lose the series, but if they pick up any point at all, that's all they care about. It. Minnesota's probably stuck at the central third spot. Here's Morrissey. In the pass, gets knocked right from Spurgeon off the stick lift as he's able to steal it. And this is sent back down the ice. This will be iced against the Wild, so their offensive personnel cannot change. 3:18 left in the first. So it is 6 shots to 4 in favor of Minnesota right now, Matt Boldy. And that was Marcus Johansson with the latest opportunity. And that one was just brushed aside by Hellebuyck. Again, Hellebuyck, over the last couple games, especially the Jets, and then right now against Minnesota, it's not been very tested, but at least you'll be able to see David Riddick in game 82, and Connor Hellebuyck will get a little bit of rest before they get into the postseason. Most likely against the Golden Knights, that would be what it is if the season ended today. There's still just a couple games left for most teams. Some teams have 3 left. Some teams only have 1. So it's between 79 and 81 at this point. 2:55 left to go in the first. This bounces off Neal Pionk near the right side of the glass. Try to get a jumping glove on it, or Scheifele. He wins the puck off through some body contact, and then we'll just hold on to the boards as they'll spin this down near the right side dot. This gets reflected there as it's dropped from Ehlers, and now Pionk will do the same. We'll matriculate this around the inboards. 2:30 left to go in the first. Winnipeg up 2-0 as this is a race for the puck off the windmill deke. Here's Dewar. He'll spin, take his time, drop it here for Domain. Domain now here for Merrill. Merrill will take a shot into the traffic, and this will bounce right back to Connor Dewar. Now he's going to work his way to the high slot as they were in the slot. Now they're in the high slot. Near the right side of the faceoff, thought he gets centered out in front, and stopped right in front of the net was Ryan Reeves. He likes to take his shirt off and have all those tattoos. He could have lifted one right in front of Hellebuyck. He just found it. The rebound fell right to him. John Merrill now will race in, trying to knock this away from DeMillo. Dispossesses him here. Near the right side dot, Hellebuyck comes all the way out, almost near the right dot, makes the save. He cuts off the angle. As the puck goes in the inboards off the save attempt, will be an offensive zone draw here for the Wild. So Connor Hellebuyck, it was his first 2 big-time primo opportunities to make a save at the end of the first. Klingberg, Reeves, they were the ones that pressed the puck. And Hellebuyck, you can understand why he stood tall. He's got 4 shutouts on the season so far. He's a damn good goaltender. And Ryan Reeves got absolutely stonewalled. Again, he's not the hands of stone on that side, but still. Those are good saves, especially when you get in the middle of the circles. So 151 in the first. As this will be another attempt at the draw, was dropped unfairly, so the Zebras will get set to do this again. And now this is time number 3 as fans getting a little impatient. Hartman gets booted out of the draw, but it'll be Matt Zuccarello, and this will go to the Winnipeg Jets. Now a hand is in the air with 147. So it'll be the second time today that Minnesota will get a power play as Dylan DeMello, I believe, got busted with a high stick. That should be the call here with 147. So Minnesota has 13 seconds of carryover time in the second period if they should not score in this end of the first, but they can have something to feel good about at the end of the first if they score now. And a big-time cross-check. That was DeMello on Hartman. Just pretty much took his bucket off the top of his head. You can't do that. 18-13, he got busted for it. 147 left to go in our first run. Are you with you? Minnesota is on their second power play. We're in the land of hockey. We're in Minnesota as this is flipped down the ice at Excel Energy Center. Marc-Andre Fleury will take a look, and he'll drop this here for John Klingberg. And Klingberg will be off to the races right to left for the rest of this first. Down to 90 seconds left to go in the first frame. As it's recollected, now Spurgeon and Johansson. They play crisscross here with Matt Zuccarello. It's 4 offensive players to 1 D. John Klingberg is the lone defenseman, and now this will be Johansson. Drop it in for Zuccarello in the high slot. Zuccarello patient. They'll give it back to Johansson near the left side of the red line. Now sent back around the horn. Minnesota now near the right dot. They'll drop it in for Klingberg. Klingberg Still holding on to it. He lets it go. This bounces off the wall, and it's found by Hellebuyck somehow amongst the trees. It was Johansson and Kirill Kaprizov on the doorstep, but it was solved by Hellebuyck as he makes another save. He's 9 for 9 right now. Marc-Andre Fleury is 2 for 4. As we're getting ready to end this first frame, it's a 2-0 lead for the Winnipeg Jets. 1 point in any variety. They clinch WC2, and it's all done in the West. We'll take a look at the rest of the playoff races when we get into the intermission. As it's sent back down the ice by Winnipeg, they're going to try to go a perfect 2 for 2. But if Minnesota doesn't score, they'll have about 13 seconds left of carryover time in the middle stanza. As this is a nice entry pass off the right side of the red line, is Kirill Kaprizov in his short side shot. Swallowed up there by Connor Hellebuyck, and now Kirill Kaprizov didn't like the fact that he was facing a little bit of lumber right to his face, and he throws out a few cross checks of his own as we get an offensive zone draw coming here for the Wild. 55 seconds left to go on the power play, 42 seconds left to go in the first. So 41 minutes right now in our YouTube start time of this stream. Again, I will be here for you today in entirety between this rest of the second and third and the game store at hopelessportsguy.wordpress.com. As far as everything else, I will have to leave you that announcement at the end of this first. So 42 seconds left to go in this first period, as this is a trip right off of the draw. And Minnesota fans, they have their hands in the air right now as Frederick Gaudreau and Kirill Kaprizov got taken out. And now there is some big-time words, although the Zebras have separated it in between Hartman, Kaprizov, everyone else like that, just to see what is going to be called. The fans don't like it. 53 seconds left in Minnesota's power play. Rick Bowness looks on, and this looks to be yet another penalty, and this was right off the draw again. So once it was set to be taken there by Freddy Gaudreau, and it was a stick into the skate of the legs that took out Kirill Kaprizov, not to mention Sacramento line, and also probably got a piece of his face with the stick. So high sticking, that's what Minnesota is called for. And Minnesota is on a 5-on-3 power play for 53 seconds. This will carry over at least. We get one, and it's set up here for Kirill Kaprizov with an absolute rocket toward the right circle, but now it's Marc-Andre Fleury to settle it down back in his own end. The Jets get the clear. 2-0 is the score, although they're trying to kill a two-man disadvantage. It's Boldy. Boldy signed that 7 for 49 deal about a month and a half ago, as this is a good shot by Klingberg, and that is stoned by Connor Hellebuyck and picked off by the Jets and sent back down. So now it's down to 8 seconds left to go in the first. Maybe Minnesota's got time for one more rush. We'll have two-man carryover time, and we'll have complete power play carryover time. But the Jets pick it up, and despite being outshot 13-4 in that first period and being on a two-man disadvantage for the second, they're up 2-0. It was goals courtesy of Scheifele, and on the other end, Adam Lowry to begin it in the first and close to end it in the first. And the Jets have a 2-0 lead. Point of any variety, they get WC2 today. Come right back. We'll call the second.
They'll take the lead, but I think that there's some room to improve when it comes to managing the puck and make sure they take care of it. 2-0 out of the 20. Lowry with his 13, Scheifele with his 42nd. That's where we stand. Jets need a point tonight, leading 2-0 after one period of play on Jets on TSN.
So I can make this announcement. I know nobody's listening on the YouTube side, but for anyone that does listen late on this Twitter space, I know it's always been recorded. I always throw that in there. If anyone's wondering why my voice sounds a little bit somber or a little bit lower on that side, I got an awful text a little bit in the morning, and it said, "John, how are you feeling?" And I said, "Oh boy," because when I see something like that, I'm kind of thinking something bad is happening. Well, here's the situation. Someone that I was around with, it was like a family reunion type deal for my fiance's side, and someone tested positive for COVID. And that one person, even though we weren't really sitting by anybody, happened to sit next to me. and I am starting to feel a little bit of effects. Again, this is just day number 2. So I'll be able to get through this right now. But as far as the rest of the week, again, we plan for Wednesday and Thursday. I'll do the best I can. But after that, this is the unfortunate time, and it really sucks, is the Stanley Cup playoffs to start next week. So I know Cooper Hopkins is a trooper, and he will definitely help me with all that stuff. He might have to carry some of this lead if he wants to cover some of these games, because I don't know if he'll make it through the rest of the week, let alone next week, because if I develop that cough and all that again, that's going to kill these streams. So that's the unfortunate news right now, but the fortunate news at the moment is I will finish this stream out with you and then monitor it as we go along. So I know that's bad news on that end, and that might also put a damper on my playoff capsules, but I'm going to get through as much as I possibly can.
Back inside Excel Energy Center, again, a look at some of the high school jerseys from the state of hockey, where Winnipeg needing 1 point tonight to get the playoffs, leads 2-0 after 1 period of play. Dan Robertson joined now by one of the Jets who scored in that first period, Adam Lowry. But Adam, I'd just be curious to get your take on the opening 20 minutes for the Jets.
Yeah, I think it was a bit up and down. A bit of our execution was a little off. I think it was evident that first shift. And the staff be wide open, nice and puck. And there's a couple easy passes I think we generally make that we didn't, but at the same time, a couple great forechecking shifts that ended up in a couple goals for us.
We're going to show your goal again, and as we do, I'd be interested to know your thoughts on playing with Nino Niederreiter, which seemed to really fit in well with you and Mason Appleton.
Yeah, I think he complements our line really well. He's a big body, and he gets in on the forecheck. That shift kind of all starts with him and Appy pressuring both their Ds and turning the puck over. We were able to get some zone time off of that, and just going to that area. I think all three of us, that's kind of where we make our money, where we score our goals, is right around the crease. And, it's tough to defend. We've got two guys there. Fortunately, we've been able to find some loose pucks for the last couple of games and bags home.
Thanks for your time, Adam.
Thanks, Nick.
Adam Lowry with another goal tonight. He had one last night in the victory against San Jose. There's the celebration. When we come back, we'll check in with Craig Button. The Jets ahead by 2 after 20 minutes of play.
At McLaren Yates, we've always believed
Cashback is good. With double cashback, it's even better. Discover matches all the cashback you earn at the end of your first year, which is cashback at its best.
I'm Dana Patrick, and this is big, but you'll only find it here.
Champion Automotive Group Pre-Owned.
Champion Checkered Flag Trio comes with lifetime powertrain protection, 10-year roadside assistance, and more. And you'll only find it at Champion.
Over what?
Yeah. This is literally feels like reality TV.
All right, so I got all the notes typed in. As far as the first, we'll give you a little quick reset. So at 3:53, the Jets with a good forecheck, and they score on the first shot of the game. It was Morrissey with the diving block to keep the puck in the zone. Niederreiter gets a turnaround shot, and the rebound bounces right to Adam Lowry for the finish. It was a slow start otherwise, but the Jets took a 1-0 lead. It was all the way to 13-10, and it was great work by the line of Pierre Luc-Dubois and Scheifele. A sauce pass from dot to dot that found the stick of Nate Schmidt from left to right. Honestly, I don't even know how that happened. It was such a great feed all the way from the other end of the circle. It's a great scoring opportunity in the middle of the slot that gets stopped by Flower. But then the return pass from Schmidt actually hits the outside of the cage, and it allows Mark Scheifele to pick it up near the left side of the crease, get an easy rebound and bury it past the helpless Fleury. Winnipeg takes a 2-0 lead. They will have to kill off a 5-on-3 to begin the second period, and it's a 13-4 shots on goal advantage for the Wild. There's been some turnovers by the Jets. Admittedly, Adam Lowry said it wasn't the greatest period that they ever played, but they will definitely take the 2-0 lead nonetheless. So let's give you some scoring reset around the league. At the end of 2 periods of play, again, everything is in progress right now because this game started at 8 Eastern. 2-1 lead for the Bruins over the Caps. It is the Hurricanes with a 3-1 lead over the Red Wings. I'll take a look at that box score in particular. What I heard today was the Red Wings, by continuing to lose, they've put themselves in the point where they can get the 10th pick, which is possible to move up to 1, but it's only a 3% chance. But they've officially put themselves in the Connor Bedard sweepstakes. What better news could you ask for if you're the Red Wings? It is Stefan Nason and Jordan Martinook in the first. It was a 2-0 lead for Carolina. Robert Hagg got his second of the year from Joe Veleno and David Perron, and Brent Burns able to get another one as it's 3-1 Carolina after 2. The Blue Jackets and the Flyers, that is a battle of nothingness right now, but the Blue Jackets, they can find themselves with the best odds to get the first pick in the lottery. The Flyers have a 3-2 lead. Here is your playoff preview. Again, you get a chance to watch this in the regular season. Again, Tampa Bay can't fall any farther than 3, so this 3-2 is essentially locked in because the Bruins have been pacing and they won the President's Trophy. But this is how the game started. William Nylander opened the score on the power play from O'Reilly and Kirill Kaprizov. It was Alex Killorn from Mikhail Sergachev and Steven Stamkos to tied at 13:59. A lot of late goals. Luke Schenn at 16:01 is fourth from Nolan Chari. It was 2-1 lead for Tampa. But Nick Perbix with his fifth from Nikita Kucherov, his 82nd apple. My goodness. And 43 assists from Braden Point and tied it at 2. For Kelly Armstrong, another power play goal for Toronto. 2 of their 3 on the power play, so they'll be a -2 on that end, or a -1. Do the math correctly from John Tavares and William Nylander. It's a 3-2 lead for the Leafs over the Lightning. Andrew Vasilevsky stopped 18 of 21. On the other end, it's Joseph Woll, 30 out of 32. Toronto is in the mix of where they need goalies right now. They need to have an emergency call-up, so Joseph Woll gets a start, and 30 out of 32 is really damn good. He will take that. As the Maple Leafs have the lead. It's 3-1 Devils over the Sabres. And I want to take a look at this in the sense of if the Devils pick up 2 points, they can leapfrog the Hurricanes, but it looks like they're not going to because the Hurricanes, as we talk about, they're all over the Red Wings trying to get the top seed and lock up the Metro. As it stands right now, it could very well be, because all teams are separated by 1 point, the Rangers, the Devils, and the Hurricanes, but it could very well be the Devils and the Rangers in the first round of the playoffs on that side of the Metro. That would be a lot of fun to watch that if that's how it unfolds. Pittsburgh has to win this game right now. They win out, they're going to be in the playoffs, bar none. And if they can do that, that'll put themselves in a great situation. But they are down 1-0 to the Chicago Blackhawks with 5:35 in the second period. So I'll take a look at the Eastern Conference standings. So they can get as many as 94 points. The Islanders can only get 93, so that is indeed the case. If the Pittsburgh Penguins win out, they win this game against the Blackhawks and win again tomorrow, they will get in. If they don't, it's going to be a rough ride as far as there's only 2 games left. They're in game 81 right now, and the Islanders and Panthers only have 1 left as well. More scores here for you. In our game, it's the Jets 2, the Wild nothing. Again, I'll have the complete game story for you. As far as the late ones are concerned, when you talk about the Panthers and the Islanders, both are inactive, so it's an opportunity for Pittsburgh to take WC2 at the moment. But they got to beat the Blackhawks. The late games, again, probably about 45 minutes from now, will be the Oilers and the Avalanche. 10 Eastern will be Canucks and Ducks, and the same for the Kraken and the Golden Knights, who will meet twice before the season is over. That should be a lot of fun and a good tune-up there for Seattle, nonetheless, to play against the Golden Knights. Golden Knights still want to make sure they hold on to that first, I would imagine. So that should still mean something. Again, as I said, I apologize. and I'll put this on Twitter Spaces, and I apologize if the COVID side will kick my butt, because I feel like that's already happening again on that side. And when I got the text this morning asking me how I'm feeling, I'm thinking, oh no, something bad's going to happen. And you know what? After not getting it at all through the first part of the onset, and then getting it for the first time on Christmas, and then now for Easter get together, because I spent time with my fiance. I got to meet her side of the family for the first time, and yeah, that might be the case. Because even though we didn't sit by a lot of people, the one side that had it was the one lady that sat by me, and that's the way that it works sometimes. So I do have 3 shots. I haven't got the 4th or the 5th side, so considering this being the second time in over 4 months when I haven't had it in the onset, I will make sure that I get an up-to-date booster, if that's the case. So that might cut off, maybe not Wednesday, but probably Thursday, because it was Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday here with you. After that, I was busy with plans. Those plans might all be put on hold. And then as far as the next week playoff capsules, I'll get them typed up, but I don't know if I'll be able to speak to do a radio show, because when I had the cough extender from COVID, that kind of cut it up. So for the playoff capsules, I'll just make sure that I get them typed up as much as possible to have that sent out. But the radio show for the Twitter Spaces and the YouTube might be halted. But thankfully, I do have Cooper Hopkins, and in that sense, we work together for a lot of these games, and we'll just carry the play-by-play and off the cover with the color side, and that's really all you can do. Because I've progressed right now from the sore to the headache to now maybe a little bit of nasal into the throat. So that just continues to move that same way. And thankfully, at least if we're having it one time, I know exactly what the symptoms are. It sucks really bad, I'll tell you that. After this is done, I will get some dinner, but we will get you through the second and third period where it gets underway. We'll run across the scores. Probably get a chance to look at some of the playing as well.
And by your local Twin Cities Acura dealers. Acura, precision, crafted performance. Jets lead the Wild 2-0 after 1 in St. Paul. Our Menards game reset. Takes a look at the numbers from the first period. Saw Minnesota shoot 12-4.
So here's the deal with the NBA play-in. And right now, this is just the 7 and 8 seed. So there's no eliminations tonight. That's why I didn't cover on that side, at least for the Jets. There'll be a chance to make the playoffs. So that I wanted to make sure that I covered. But for the Hawks and the Heat, the Hawks have a 69-63 lead over Miami. And the way this play-in works, at least for tonight, as it's east and west side between the 7th and 8th place, the winner gets the 7th seed in the NBA playoffs. So if, let's say the Hawks beat the Heat, they'll get the 7th seed. And if the Heat lose, they will play the winner of the 9 and 10 seed, and those two teams battle it out. The Heat would have to play them to see who gets the 8th seed, and if they don't win, they go home. That's the way the play-in works, at least for tonight. So the Hawks have the lead 69-63 with 8:06 left to go in the third. The other playing game will start at 10 p.m. on TNT. That is the Timberwolves and the Lakers. And the Timberwolves will be without Rudy Gobert because you try to pick a fight with Kyle Anderson. Kyle Anderson said some things he didn't like. I guess Rudy Gobert threw a couple fists, and there you go. So it's the Lakers. Should be feeling pretty good. You don't have that size mismatch inside. You can have AD and LeBron go to work. I know Anthony Edwards is a bad man. But I feel bad for any of the Timberwolves fans, to be honest, because when you give up 5 firsts for somebody like that, I didn't understand it. I don't think you'll ever understand it. I think it was a horrible trade. I just feel bad for the fan base, all things considered.
When you find that perfect pair, nothing can stop you shine, because when you feel fly, you look fly.
Jamie, I'm pretty sure that was my line.
Get 2 pairs of purveyor belt plus.
We'll give you some baseball scores. A lot of these are in progress. The Tigers have a 3-2 lead over the Blue Jays. I can't believe that. If they win, I'm gonna go nuts. 11-2, the Yankees all over the Guardians. That was the one final that we have. Everything else is in progress, and when those do finish off, they're very close to for a lot of them. We will get you a lot of baseball finals going into that second intermission. Until then, though, we're getting close to the second period puck drop. Thank you for sticking with me in between Twitter Spaces and YouTube at John Reinott. I humbly appreciate it. Again, I apologize if I don't sound 100% as far as some of the yelling and screaming. This hasn't really been that type of game right now, but I feel like the COVID thing is going to kick my butt here within the next few days. So we're going to power through it, at least for the next couple, and then see what happens after that. So my apologies. I try to do the best I can to avoid everything. And for those that look forward to the playoff capsules, I will have them, at least in written form. That's my plan.
You guys had great puck possession. You drew power plays. You can look up. Jets are up 2. How do you assess the first?
Well, I thought we did a lot of good things. I liked their energy. I liked the way we were playing. We just had a couple bad bounces go against us, but we just got to stay with it. Go create some more opportunities for ourselves, and hopefully get some pucks to go.
Anthony, after you. The Jets, we showed you 29-10, shots 12-4. Yeah, it's the Jets on top by 2. The Wild do open the second period with 13 seconds left of a 5-on-3, a minute 21 of overall power play time. Jets were whistled 3 penalties in the first period, none against Minnesota. Big face-off win for Lowry to open the frame. They'll let the Jets clear and take care of most of the remaining 5-on-3 time. Klingberg sends it ahead. Kaprizov had a step on Lowry. Now goes across for Boldy. One-man advantage. Boldy lost control. DeMello clears. Appleton carries in for Winnipeg. Appleton threw it toward the net. Lowry trying to tuck it in behind Fleury.
So Winnipeg now has the puck shorthanded. Apologies, the battery's died. We're getting everything today right now. But this will be done here in about 10 seconds. There's 40 seconds left to go in Minnesota's power play. They had a 5-on-3 carryover. So as we're back underneath it right now, about 19:05 left to go in the second. Minnesota didn't score on the 5-on-3, and the Jets able to clear this one back down, at least getting into the neutral zone. They're enjoying a 2-0 lead against the Minnesota Wild. Again, they get any sort of point tonight, that's going to put them in WC2. Take the slap shot is John Klingberg, as he has this now in the high slot. Stenlund trying to get a block on front, as this is sent back around here for Klingberg into the traffic, but it bounces off of Kirill Kaprizov's stick and sent back down the ice. Immediately when I was using the Winnipeg Jets TSN feed, it was very, very dark, so we had to flip over on the Minnesota Wild side of it. And again, it's not my TV part of it. It's just really different looking on the TSN side. So this is picked off now by Dylan DeMello and sent back down the ice where it touches the stick of the flower, Marc-Andre Fleury. So the Wild do have a 12-4 shot advantage, and the Jets have turned a couple pucks over that allowed Wild to get a couple shots. And now they'll turn it over in the middle of the neutral zone. As here's a pickup now by the Jets. And now here's an outstretched pass up the one-on-one. It's Nikolaj Ehlers. Ehlers looking for the sauce, trying to find Blake Wheeler. And I'll send this back around, but it's picked off now by Jonas Brodin. Now back toward the defensive end of the Winnipeg Jets, as it's an opportunity off of a pickoff by Dylan DeMello. And now Ehlers will spin this back around as it bounces off of Kyle Connor. And now Matt Dumba from Jonas Brodin. Dumba has it. They gain the red line off the wrist shot entry. Now it's Frederick Gaudreau near the office of Connor Hellebuyck as he gets picked off the puck near the left side of the red line. And this will go back into the neutral zone where Pierre Luc-Dubois has it. Try to get it toward the right side of the wall. Drop it for Connor now. Here's a sauce pass for Dylan. Dylan patient. He works his way off the deflection. This bounces away from the left side of the glass. I thought it might actually hit Mark Scheifele. But now here is Ryan Reeves. He's going to try to gain the entry off the windmill. Fight through the contact against Pionk. And now there's 17 minutes left to go in the second, as this will be in the defensive end for Jared Spurgeon. The captain will pick this down the ice, and Ryan Reeves, he got around Dylan, but then he lost the puck, as this will be a chance for the Jets to gain the entry for Adam Lowry. He was the one that scored the first goal in this game, as the Jets are enjoying a 2-0 lead despite being outshot 12-4. Morrissey will go ahead and collect, as he's got it now and spins this around. Again, Josh Morrissey, absolutely incredible offensive year, about 86 assists on that side, counting. I mean, that's ridiculous, as Rick Bowness just seems to have unlocked anything that Morrissey's had. He's always been a good defender, but it's an outrageous amount of apples and setups, as Morrissey now tries to get this in the offensive zone, but this will be picked off by Mason Appleton and now recollected, as the Wild will get a chance to spin this around the kick plate with Spurgeon. Boldy comes together with Morrissey as he tries to go ahead and find the puck. Jacob Middleton will gain the entry, with Spurgeon stuck in his own end, as this bounces off of the skate of Boldy and sent back down the ice, where it will be recollected by the defensive partner of the Winnipeg Jets and Dylan DeMello. I'll drop it here from Morrissey, and now Nikolaj Ehlers try to break out of his own end. This will be Mason Appleton. This will spin and pivot. And now here is a Morgan Barron shot that goes in between the 5-hole of Fleury. He holds on and makes the save. With 15:45 left to go in the second. John here with you. I switched the feed from Valley Sports Minnesota side of it. Fewest goals allowed, 60 minutes by defenseman Nate Schmidt, 1.36. And you have Jared Spurgeon and Jonas Brodin, 1.67, 1.71 in the back end. And a mix between all of the Boston Bruins, Matt Grzelcyk, Brandon Carlo, and Hampus Lindholm. You wonder why that is, but you also have Linus Ullmark on that end. That's a little bit of a sarcastic remark on my end, but you get my point. Good goaltending also makes it pretty good on that side, because, again, you think about Connor Hellebuyck, you think about Philip Gustafsson. Marc-Andre Fleury's had a decent year, but Philip Gustafsson's really taken off. So between Gustafsson, Ullmark, and Connor Hellebuyck, you got good defense and you got good goaltending. It seems to go hand in hand. So Wheeler against Ryan Hartman, as this is picked up by Merrill off of the defensive zone face-off win. This will take a bad bounce. This will allow the Jets to be able to get something on, but it goes off the left skate of John Merrill and then sent in through the middle of the slot. As it's recollected, Kirill Kaprizov, he's going to make something happen on his own. He can do that, but a good half hip check there by Dylan DeMello takes him off the puck, and Vlad Nemestikov will have to spin this around the embankment, as this will be an opportunity for the Jets off of the sauce pass. And this is picked up across the red line, and now offsides is Ryan Hartman with 15:14 left to go in the second. Still 2-0 Jets. Nothing so far to speak of in this second period. John here with you, doing the play-by-play. If the Jets get any sort of point today, they lock up WC2. They can't go any lower. They can't go any higher. So game 82 will be some rest there for Connor Hellebuyck, I'd imagine. David Riddick will get his time at that point. That's what the Jets want right now. Again, there was a little bit of a fallback, especially when they were first in January, but they got into the playoffs, and they might draw against the Vegas Golden Knights if things hold as they are. Seattle and Vegas have 2 meetings to end the regular season, so it should be a good tune-up for both teams. Both are playoff teams. This will be recollected here by Barron, near the right side of the red line. And now here's a chance. Barron will get this one back off the return feed. Fleury holds on to it, and he gets the whistle. 14:47. That was some good work there, and I want to make sure that I get this right on that side in between Morgan Barron and Kevin Stenlin up with the give-and-go type of play. And there was Barron near the right side wall. He's going to power his way to the backhand, try to lift it over the mask of Marc-Andre Fleury. But the Flower says no, holds on and gets a stoppage. I absolutely love those gold reverse pads there for Marc-Andre Fleury. It looks really good in that Minnesota forest green on that side with those pads. That's pretty sick. Last 16 starts against the Jets for Fleury, 11-5, 291 goals against, and a 912 save percentage. Not too bad. And this might be Marc-Andre Fleury's final year, is what they're saying, as this is recollected off of the defensive zone draw win. Again, he is playing for Philip Gustafsson off the back-to-back. The Jets really, they could have used David Riddick, but they really need the points, so you got to go with your stalwart and Connor Hellebuck in net. We'll get a chance to play the next day against Colorado. So Johansson off of the stretch, and he fires it wide. It would have been an opportunity for the Wild to at least get this within one, but here's Pierre Luc-Dubois. As he's patient now, he'll leave it here for Kyle Connor. Connor now toward the right side of the dot. He's able to spin right around Boldy. Now he'll do it again. Spin cycle here. He'll drop it in for Scheifele with the bomb, and that's the reason why Scheifele's got about 40-some goals in the season. When you're constantly sit up in the middle of that circle, the 1T makes a lot of sense. I see that Buffalo is getting destroyed right now by the New Jersey Devils 4-1. They don't win this game. I think they're out, so they have to win right now. This is flipped up in the air, and this will be in the netting. We get a stoppage with 13:45. That was a little inconspicuous there, but that is indeed what the call is. Still 13 shots to 7 for the Wild. We go to the break. It's still 2-0 Jets, though. It was a break for Marcus Johansson, and this goes off of the armpit of Hellebuck, and he makes a save. So we did kill those batteries on that end. I'm going to make sure I throw these on a site, and I will throw them away at the end of the period. So we'll have a good fresh set for that. I got a bunch of AAAs, so no worries for the recorder side. Again, that's where I get the clearest audio when I upload it at Hopeful Sports Guy. That's where the podcast and everything else can be found. That's where we do all this stuff where it's no commercial break. It's just the stuff during the play-by-play.
With more cars, trucks, and SUVs arriving every day, it's time to choose Champion. Take it from me, Dan Patrick. Champion's ready to save you big money.
Drop new Chevys, Chryslers, Jeeps, Dodges, Ram, even new Buicks and GMCs. Plus, sell over 1,000 pre-owned vehicles. All backed by our lifetime powertrain warranty.
Champion Auto Group, you always been first. Log on, championautoinc.com.
This is fun. Wrapped around Haagen-Dazs.
This is luxury.
Enjoy it here or wherever you are. Butter cookie wrapped Haagen-Dazs.
Talked about the mentality of playing good hockey. Dallas got these final 2 games, but at the same time managing health and making sure that everybody's good going into the playoffs.
Yeah, it's not easy to kind of balance both. I mean, you got to play this game hard and with the right mindset and work ethic, but at the same time, trying to be smart, knowing that we got bigger things to play for in about 5 or 6 days. So just like it's so different. It's nice to play against teams like this that are in the battle, and the game's definitely the ones that are a little bit tough to get going. Is the ones that against teams that are kind of out of it by a long shot. So, but I mean, we've got to perfect some things, and it's no good on going playoffs right now.
Always the balance. Appreciate Mark.
So the Jets have this now in the offensive end after a neutral zone faceoff win. As this gets recollected, there's an opportunity for the Jets as they'll flip this back around. They have the Lowry line out there. That was the one that scored the first goal. Niederreiter trying to get some work done. Then the left side of the red line, Mason Appleton have to go out and give us a chase as Jacob Middleton will make a nice pass here for Dewar, and he'll fire this one onto the left side of the glass, and this will bounce back to the Jets, and they'll throw a stick out there just to be able to get this into the neutral zone as Niederreiter gets knocked down in between Jonas Brodin and now Niederreiter. This play is going to get blown dead. He's falling on the puck. They're not going to let that happen. So with 12:54 in the second, we get a stoppage. Niederreiter have the puck stuck underneath him. So still 2-0 Jets. And as we've said in the open, and anyone else that joins late, you can throw this in there. If the Jets get a point in any variety, they clinch WC2. Again, they can drop no farther than that. They can move up no farther than that. They will be locked into WC2, and they will play the biggest points leader in the West right now. That would be the Vegas Golden Knights. I happen to think that that could be an intriguing series for the Jets to possibly win it in the first round. I don't know if we're going to have all chalk pretty much like we did in the first round of last year's playoffs. Again, I got 7 out of 8 correct on mine. I took the Kings to win Game 7 last year against the Oilers, and it was without Arvidsson. And on the other side, this is a slap shot for the Jets that missed. Doughty as well wasn't there, and it still went 7. So this is picked up now for Ehlers as he gets stick lifted, and Foligno will get this one sent back across, and now Marco Rossi. He's a decent looking young rookie here for Minnesota. We'll see if he can continue to get some playing time when it matters most, especially in the postseason. As Vladimir Mestikov gets tripped, and I think one of the Wild actually got hit with a puck on the other end on the way down. So 2 bowling pins go down. We'll have to see what it's going to be called. I think it's going to be a tripping penalty against the Minnesota Wild. That's what started it all. So Marcus Johansson, he's the one that got taken down. He looks slow to get up. Maybe he got hit in the eye with something. He keeps kind of going to the left eye, doing this, kind of giving that wink near the visor side of it. Marco Rossi is the one in the box. He tripped Vladimir Mestikov. That is what I saw that was initially going to be called. And then I think on the other end, is yes, he took Vladimir Mestikov out, got his stick underneath the skate, and then off of the clearing attempt, it hit Johansson in the visor. So that's not good on that end. A little bit of friendly fire on accident. But Marco Rossi is the one that goes to the box, and the Jets are on the power play. They should enjoy that because they already have a 2-0 lead. They score again. This could be a formality here for the Wild because I don't think they're going to be able to do much besides stay in 3 in the Central. They're not going to go down to a wild card spot. They have too many points for that. But the Wild don't have that much to play for as much as the Jets do. And that would only matter for the Wild if they came out and started beating up on the Jets to move up in the Central and try to get the 2 seed or the 1. But the 2 and the 3 play each other. It's really 1 or nothing else at this point if you're Minnesota, in all honesty, as it's flipped back down. This goes across to Connor Hellebuck, and he leaves it here for Josh Morrissey. And the Winnipeg Jets have their first opportunity with the man advantage, as it's Kyle Connor. Kyle Connor off the give and go. He's the one that's going to gain the red line and get the entry, as Marc-Andre Fleury will quickly leave us to his defense. And this bounces right in front of Marc-Andre Fleury. That's the 3rd time this game that this has happened. 2 of them have been goals for the Jets, and now they have this in the offensive end, but it looks like the Wild will be able to get this out there. As Brandon Domain will send this back down. He's getting some penalty kill time. We'll throw this back to the D. Spurgeon with a long outstretched pass, but it's picked off by Pierre Luc-Dubois. And now you don't need a writer. He'll make some work happen near the left side of the wall. Leave it here for Vladimir Mestikov, who was just tripped. Dubois gets away from a hit, and now this will go back to the D side in the high slot. Pierre Luc Dubois has it now, and he's waiting now in the middle of the circles. It's picked up by Ehlers and Wheeler. Sent back to D now for Morrissey. Here's a chance for Wheeler. He'll let a wrist shot go. This just hits the left side of the glass. Niederreiter. Now near the left side of the wall as Ryan Hartman will take a look. It's Josh Morrissey back here for Vladimir Mestikov. As this is spun around the inboards again. Recollect for Nino. Now back to Vlad. Vlad patient as he picks it up. It's Blake Wheeler. Now back to Nemestikov. He's still in behind the net. Wheeler near the right side dot. They'll go back in, try to make that pass. It goes offside of the net. Fleury brushes it aside. And Winnipeg's power play is not fruitful as it's sent back down into the neutral zone. We're halfway through the second period. John, I'm here with you right now. 2-0 lead for the Jets. The shot opportunities are low. And maybe you would expect that in this type of game between these two teams. 13 shots to 7, but the Jets have the 2-goal lead despite having the 7 shots. You have no Niederreiter against Spurgeon as it's Matt Zuccarello, and they'll make this long pass. It's Hartman. Have a chance to have it now. It's got Hartman and Kaprizov in the rush, but it's 1-on-3. Hartman's going to pull back as this will fall to the Jets and Dylan DeMello. DeMello now will get this one from Morgan Barron as Barron lost it. This is picked up by the Jets. They'll just casually flip this across the red line, gain the entry near the right side wall, and dump it in. Hellebuck will take a look at it as it hits the right side of the glass and stand up, just holding on in the middle of that post as this is picked up by the Jets. This will go back to John Klingberg. Again, he was acquired from the Anaheim Ducks at the deadline. And now he's got a chance to make it some playoff hockey again, as he did with Dallas in the other year. As it's flipped back around now, this eludes Matt Zuccarello, but this goes to the other John Merrill to John Klingberg, and Klingberg turns it over. Here's an opportunity for Pierre Luc-Dubois. He's patient now near the right side dot in the high slide. Here comes the bomb off the 1T, and the stick shaft is broken and went farther than the puck. But if Fleury saw it, he made the save. When we get a stoppage and go to commercial break. Still 2-0 Jets with 8:47 left to go in the second.
With more cars, trucks, and SUVs arriving every day, it's time to choose champions. Take it from me, Dan Patrick. Champions ready to save you big money.
Shop new Chevys, Chryslers, Jeeps, Dodges, Rams, even new Buicks and GMCs. Plus, shop over 1,000 pre-owned vehicles, all backed by our lifetime powertrain warranty.
At Champion Auto Group, you always finish first. Log on, championautoinc.com.
Research shows people remember heartwarming ads. So to help you remember that Liberty Mutual customizes your home insurance, here's a touching moment.
I want to give you something very special that I wore on my wedding day.
Liberty Mutual customizes your home insurance, so you only pay for what you pay. I love you, Mom. I love you too.
Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
This is how Peloton does after hours.
Are y'all excited to be here?
In the early evening with a mug of hot tea.
You damn right.
With the one, the only, me,
Cody Rigsby. All right, y'all ready to dance? Now, friends, this is a talk show on wheels full of pop culture and sidekick celebrity confessions.
so pop, lock, and side-eye, boo. This is gonna be an LOL.
Are y'all ready? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Jets still leading 2-0. Mets man Dumba will be announced after the game that he's the inaugural winner of the Tom Kerber Humanitarian Award. It's given to the Wild player who best exemplifies leadership qualities on and off the ice and makes significant contributions in the community. Matt's always done that.
So the Jets, as we come back from the break, they get an offensive zone draw, and Adam Lowry immediately off the face-off one will set this up for Morrissey with the 1T, and that gets saved by Marc-Andre Fleury, but not before it goes up and on a play. We'll do it again with 8:44 left to go in the second. The Wild have been blanked right now, although it's 13-9 on the shot board. Admittedly, in this game, it's been a very slow start. Not a lot of opportunities, as you would expect that to be the case. 8:34, we get a stoppage here in the second. And we have another penalty coming. I believe this one will be against the Wild. New Matt Dumba for a high stick in the face of one of the Jets. I saw somebody holding on to their face on that side, so it is Demba. He's the one that's going to go to the box, and the Jets now will have their second power play. So the Wild have a couple. Wild actually have three. They had a two-man advantage that they didn't score on, and now the Jets will get to their second. So Dumba, yeah, he got the stick right up in the face of number 55, Mark Scheifele. That is a very easy call. Brush toward the right side of the visor, almost maybe toward the right side of the eye on that part. That's not a good look. So Matt Dumba will be sent to the box for high sticking. No shots on the Jets power play, the first one. Brodin, Johansson, Frederick Gaudreau, and Jared Spurgeon. Those will be the defensive pairings right now as they try to kill this man advantage here for the Jets. So they try to clear. They can't do it. Josh Morris able to keep it in for Kyle Connor. There's an opportunity as this was centered out in front for Ehlers, and Scheifele. He'll work his way in the high slot just to hold it in. And now the Jets will fire this off the glass, but this isn't cleared again. And now the Jets have a third opportunity to make something happen. Kyle Connor dancing, trying to create space. There's a chance for Ehlers. Connor send this across for Scheifele. He lets a ripper go near the left dot, but that got blocked before it hit Marc-Andre Fleury. Now 2-on-2, shorthanded. Here's a long shot, and the rebound got sent wide up the outside of the cage. And now here's a rush for Connor. It's 1-on-3. Here comes Scheifele, joins the rush. Connor's still with it. He'll spin, trying to keep it alive. But this is recollected by Brandon Domain. Domain, he gains the entry here. Hold up, slows, and shoots right in the 5-hole of Hellebuck. And he'll play the puck just in time before the whistle is blown dead. As it's Scheifele trying to get in through the neutral zone. Here's a outstretched pass that will find Nikolaj Ehlers, but it looks like Scheifele never stopped skating. He's offsides. 56 seconds left to go in the Winnipeg man advantage. That is their second. 7:29 left to go in the middle frame. John, under what they do in the play-by-play. This time I got the Valley Sports Minnesota feed on that, and I switched it from TSN. We're watching this on ESPN Plus. I thank you guys for joining me between the Twitter Spaces and the YouTube side. This is 1 point. You get in. Pretty much that's all the Jets need. They will clinch WC2. And again, they can move up no farther. They can't move down any. They'll be locked in. So You would think David Riddick's going to play game 82, and the Jets will get as much rest as humanly possible before they maybe play the Golden Knights in the first round. That's what it would be if it ended today. As this is recollected, Wheeler, his backhand. This will be fouled by Vlad Nemestikov. He takes a hit, but he keeps it in. And now Ehlers will send this back around. Ehlers now with a chance for Kyle Connor as it picks it back up. It's Vlad Nemestikov. He's back in the zone after taking a hit. Now he's being held by Foligno as this will fall back to Neal Pionk. Here comes the wrist shot, the deflection, and a couple contact everywhere. Fleury gets knocked down, jumps out of the air. He's back to his feet. Jets still with this thing in the high slot. Here's Vlad Nemestikov on his off wing, and this gets sent to the net and taken away as it's sent down the ice by Minnesota, but only to the neutral zone. So they killed the penalty, but the Jets are still trying to press. You don't need a rider now. Trying to get this with the help of Neal Pionk as he's pressed in there a little bit alongside Vlad Nemestikov. Somebody loses a bucket. I believe that is Dean, and this will go the other way here for the Minnesota Wild. Here's a chance for Spurgeon. Spurgeon now trying to keep it alive, but it'll fall to Brandon Dillon of the Winnipeg Jets. We're on the 6:05 in this middle frame. Morgan Barron will drop it in for Adam Lowry. It's a third line side right now for Rick Bowness' squad and Barron. And behind the office of Marc-Andre Fleury as Lowry sends this around. This takes a crazy carom as this still goes near the right side of the red line now. The Jets just continue to spin with this and behind the net. Great keep in there by Dylan DeMello. And this goes off the left blocker of the Flower as it's picked up now by the Jets again. They've done a great job in this game, even though they haven't had a lot of shots. Neither team has, but they've done a great job carrying this puck and trying to make sure that they're patient. And that worked out a couple times with a couple rebound opportunities, especially in the first. They got a 2-0 lead. No goals yet in this second. Just 25 shots on goal combined, 14 for the Wild, 11 for the Jets. They'll fire one on. Now on the high slot, here's Dewar with the cross pass. Big save for Hellebuyck as he stops it with the right pad. 5:13. We go to a commercial break. Connor Hellebuyck makes a big save again, this time near the left dot as he robbed Matt Zuccarello. And we'll see what happens in the rest of the second when we come back. I know it was a long question that I posted on the YouTube side. Maybe there why there was only a couple votes. I said, do you think the Winnipeg Jets score an upset in the postseason, assuming they get into WC2? 2 of you voted and said yes, it's still where we are right now. We're very close to getting to the end of the second period, and the Jets still should feel really good about where they are right now. Minnesota, again, for all intents and purposes, probably not going to move away from that third spot. They can't move into the wild card 1. But as far as moving up, they would have to win out, and the Avalanche would have to kind of fall apart in the 3 games that they have left. I don't see that happening, although I do see the Colorado Avalanche resting Cale Makar as much as possible until game 1 of the postseason. So not likely that Minnesota would move up into the Central. And even if they moved up to 2, they'd still play 3. That's the way it works on that end. So for the Jets, all they need is 1 point tonight, and they get into the postseason. They claim WC2, and they're in a good standing right now as they have a 2-goal lead with less than 5 minutes to play in the middle frame.
Like the incredible iPhone 14
On the network worth bragging about.
Verizon. He gets up to 23 miles an hour, but I think he pulls a lot of the best because he doesn't look like he's working that hard. It's such a great ride phase. Legs aren't turning over rapidly.
So as we're in the commercial break, we got 5:13 officially left in the second. It's 15 out of 15 for Connor Hellebuyck, 9 out of 11 for Marc-Andre Fleury. Team stats, 15-11 on shots for Minnesota, 11-11 on hits, 21-13 faceoffs for Winnipeg on that end. So back underneath the action now. This is a defensive zone draw win for Adam Lowry, and this will fall back to the Johns. That's what they are right now. John Merrill and John Klingberg, the third line sign for Dean Evason squad, and my name is John as well. As well as we do the play-by-play side, we're at Excel Energy Center in Minnesota in the state of hockey. I do like Hockeytown in Detroit. That is my team in the Red Wings, but Minnesota is the state of hockey. The Golden Gophers, they played a close game against the Winnipeg Bobcats the other day, not too long ago, but that defensive shell didn't hold up, and Winnipeg got their first title. As Nino Niederreiter sends us here to Marc-Andre Fleury, we covered that game even before the COVID stipulations for myself. So that was an exciting call. This one may not be as much, as I'm trying to not yell as much as I usually do. As this is picked up here for Kyle Connor. Kyle Connor now, number 81, the Michigan man, has it near the right side of the dot. I'll drop it here for Morrissey. Here's a more of a slap pass. This will be for Ehlers anyway. Still battling for the puck. It was just a host of Wild and Jets in the middle of the circles, and nobody could locate it. And what's gone officially final is the Devils 6, the Sabres 2. I think that puts the Sabres out of the postseason picture, period, the way that is going to end up working out. Josh Morrissey, as this one is sent back from DeMello. Morrissey now trying to keep this alive off the backhand, on the left side of the blue line, as Vladimir Mestikov's back out there. Spun off the puck is Spurgeon, and now Klingberg is going to have to help this out, as this will fall to Scheifele. Scheifele on the high slot, fan on the one-timer. Was a huge opportunity off the shot for Dylan Sandberg, and it's sent back into the neutral zone, but quickly back in. Mark Scheifele's pass will bounce in between the right side dot as the Wild will flip it back down. And this will be a race for the puck, and this will be recollected by the Jets, as the Jets now try to get this out of their own end. Again, they want to go right to left for the rest of the second, left to right for the Minnesota Wild for the rest of the second frame. Only about 3 minutes left to do so right now. The Jets are in great standing to lock up WC2. That's where they'll be stuck in, as there's only one game left for them in the regular season. And that will be against the Colorado Avalanche. At least for them, it won't mean much on that end as long as they get this done tonight. 2:40 left to go in the second, so they can let David Reddick play. This will be collected now for Dumba. Dumba now drops it off for Foligno off the give and go. He takes a long shot that gets bounced by the Jets. But this is still near the right side dot as it hits off the referee. This will stay in. Here comes the slap shot. Body contact everywhere as one of the Jets falls down off the shot block. But now here comes Neal Pionk off the entry, and his chance gets deflected. Adam Lowry can't locate it, but Foligno does for the Wild. Liz will drop this back there for Dewar. And now Dumba will get his outstretched pass where the Jets will pick it off into the neutral. Here's Dillon. Dillon will flip it out of the air. This bounces off a couple of hands, but this will fall to Jonas Brodin. Gain the red line, as we'll go ahead and take a change. He's waiting on the player's bench anyway, as it's Mason Appleton. It's a one-on-one the other way. He'll just drop it here for Dillon, trying to find something in the high slot for Morgan Barron. Marc-Andre Fleury, it was contested in behind his cage, but he was able to make the pass clean. 15 shots to 13 in favor of the Wild, but they haven't scored yet. They're down 2-0. A backhand opportunity is brushed aside for Connor Hellebuyck. And now near the left side wall, Jets will try to break out near the right. As this is a chance for Mako Saku Menelainen, excuse me. I mixed the M and the S, and he knocks it off near the right side wing. This will fall back to Dylan DeMello, and this goes off the left side of the blocker there. Barron can't get to it, but picked up off by Menelainen with a chance, and that one is just lost, and Dylan DeMello will wind and fire. Is Saku Menelainen again. Here with DeMello as he pushes. This goes off the left pad of Fleury. Now the Jets are buzzing. And this is important. This is at the end of the second period. They get another goal lead. This is probably over. They're already up by 2. Here's a rush, and they cancel it off. Ehlers trying to stay on his feet. Jacob Middleton is the one that's bothering him. It's all Jets right now at the end of this second period. 15-13 still on the shot board. All of those got blocked before it ever hit Fleury. And now the Wild. They need a change. They get this out into the neutral zone as the Jets mercifully send this one back in. Marc-Andre Fleury will leave a drop to his defense. They look for a 170-foot stretch pass. That is an ice. The Wild able to beat it. And now they'll keep it alive here for 20 seconds left to go in the second as the ref just can't get out of the way. And behind of the middle of the office there for Connor Hellebuyck. We're down to the 15 seconds left to go in the second period. This is loose in the middle of the circles, just brushed aside by a stick there by the Jets. They'll fire it on. And off the deflection, Hellebuyck says no. Down to 3 seconds now, but this will find the Jets. They get us into the neutral zone, and that ends the second. No goals in that second, but the Jets, most importantly, still have a 2-goal lead. So when we come back, the Jets are still up by a pair. And if this holds, they're going to take WC2. There was a lot of action in the last couple minutes there for the Jets. And they had some pressure on Marc-Andre Fleury, but it was the Wild with a few shot blocks that kept the score still at 2.
That one stung a little bit. I'll have to go back for some repairs, but hey, that's hockey. Wild battle back. Winnipeg, I think the better team that period. Wild really couldn't find anything offensively. Kind of a grind for them. Power plays, nothing to show for it.
Well, one thing to show for it, cut across the bridge of the nose of the beam downstairs. 2-0 in favor of Winnipeg after 2 periods here.
Cashback is good. With double cashback, it's even better. Discover matches all the cashback you earn at the end of your first year, which is cashback at its best.
I'm Danica Patrick, and this is big, but you'll only find it here.
Champion Automotive Group Pre-Owned.
Champion Checkered Flag Pre-Owned comes with lifetime powertrain protection, 10-year roadside assistance, and more. And you'll only find it at Champion.
Over 1,000 pre-owned to choose from.
With 7 convenient locations, you win big. At Champion Auto Group, you always finish first. Log on to championautoinc.com.
92% of households that kick off the year with Peloton are still active a year later. Yeah, actively using it as a road rack. Okay, but it's still just a fact. Just another piece of fitness code.
Come on, Dad, don't live with the easy.
You'll give up eventually.
Seriously? 92%.
92% stick with it. So can you. Start a 30-day.
So let me just give you the team stats. I'll just give you the team stats to end this second period right now officially. There were no goals in that second period at all to speak of. So the Jets, they took 3 penalties in the first period, and the Wild took 2. Both teams are combined 0 for 5.
With double cashback, it's even better. Discover matches all the cashback you earn at the end of your first year, which is cashback at its best.
With more cars, trucks, and SUVs arriving every day, it's time to choose Champion. Take it from me, Dan Patrick. Champion's ready to save you big money.
Shop new Chevys, Chrysler, Jeeps, Dodges, Rams, even new Buicks and GMCs. Plus, shop over 1,000 pre-owned.
The shots are not very plentiful on either side as well. Again, if you're Winnipeg, you like that. And if you're Minnesota, you're used to playing in games like this. 16-14 are the shots. That's in favor of Minnesota. Hits are 15-13.
And he made it happen. I mean, the ensemble was not pressurized in moments after stepping out the rock at the astronaut died an agonizing death. Everyone agreed his corpse looked great.
Hits are 15-13 in favor of the Wild as well, where the Jets have dominated. That is in the face-off circle. 22-13 Winnipeg on that end. Again, it is 0 for 3 on the power play for the Minnesota Wild. 0 for 2 on the other end for the Jets. Let's take you around the league again. We do have a couple of finals as far as everything else. The Blue Jackets pick up a point, but they don't get 2. The Flyers hold off the Blue Jackets at Wells Fargo for 3. And the Prudential Center, the Devils, they destroy the Sabres 6-2. The Hurricanes get a humongous win over the Red Wings 4-1. That is big because the Hurricanes will still hold on to their spot in the Metro. They probably don't want to play the New York Rangers in the first round. That is my guess on that end. Maybe even the Devils on that side. I understand the Hurricanes are a great team, but when you lose Andrei Svechnikov, that does give me pause and some questions as far as is their offense going to be enough to save the day when they get into the postseason. Those are just my thoughts. Again, I will have that as far as the playoff capsules. Don't know if it's going to be vocal as far as COVID and all that still because I'm starting to feel it. But we will see what we can get through at least.
It's a playoff atmosphere. It's a playoff type game. So, we're playing a team that's fighting for it. So.
In our game, it's 2-0 Jets. There were no goals to speak of in that second period. The Blackhawks still have a 2-1 lead over the Penguins. That would be one hell of a development right now because the Penguins have already known this. With the Islanders lost the other day, if they win their next 2 games, they're in no matter what. This could make this a huge problem. You cannot lose to the Blackhawks. But again, when Cooper Hopkins was with me, when we covered that game against the Winnipeg Jets a few days ago, the Flames got the win against the Jets, but they didn't win against the Blackhawks. And because of that, losing to Nashville yesterday, as we covered, they're done. So Pittsburgh can find themselves in a situation where they could be completely done. The Maple Leafs are holding on to a 4-3 win, a 4-3 lead against the Lightning. They're up 4-3 with 2:02 left to go in the third. They're trying to get a 4-3 win, I should say. The Bruins, they are going to pick up the win with 14 seconds left. They are up 5-2 on the Caps. So that will give them the most points, I believe, ever in an NHL season. They've already won the President's Trophy. They had a chance to set the all-time record. I believe that the Bruins are going to do that. I don't see any way that the Bruins lose in the first round. Again, they'll now be 34-4-3 at TD Garden. But the East is so damn good on that end. It's very possible when you get to the second or third, the Bruins could lose because it's going to be a bloodletting there. It's going to be everybody taking everybody out on that end, as it always is in the East. But they shouldn't lose in the first round if they play against the Islanders. But that will be a hell of a goaltending matchup between Ilya Sorokin and Linus Ullmark. That one has just gone final. And if that's the case, I will say the Islanders can get it to 6 because I respect Ilya Sorokin that much. It should be a lot of fun. It did officially go final, as we said, 5-2 win for the Bruins over the Caps. I didn't get a chance to give you baseball scores in the previous intermission, so let's do that now. Flip up this part of the scoreboard. We'll see what has gone final. We do have finals now. We didn't have any in the beginning except for the Yankees and the Guardians, 11-2. The Pirates beat the Astros. Astros not off to a great start this year. I know it's tons of time and it's early because you had the few years ago now when Max Scherzer and Steven Strasburg and all of them, Juan Soto were on the Washington Nationals. I believe they were in last place all the way to July, August, and then they made the push and won the World Series a few years ago. But it's the Pirates with a 7-4 win. Again, I think O'Neal Cruz is done for the rest of the year. Snapped something going into second base. The Tampa Bay Rays, they are still undefeated. They are 11-0. Again, they've had a very soft schedule, as we talked about. When you open with the Tigers, the Washington Nationals, and the Pittsburgh Pirates, and now the Red Sox, but the Red Sox been able to score a lot of runs, and a lot of their games have been at home. And now they're their 8th win at Tropicana already, but still you have to win the games that are in front of you in your schedule, and the Rays have done that on a 7-run, 11-hit attack. Boston 2-6 as far as their attack. As far as runs and hits today, they're 5-6 on the year. Rays are 11-0. It is the Marlins getting a win over the Phillies. Both teams below 500. Marlins now 5-7. Phillies tough start to the year as well, 4-7. They're 3-2 at home, not very good on the road. Everything else in progress. We'll give you the latest ones get across the board. I think it's going to be the Baltimore Orioles with the win. They're up by 4. They're in the top of the 9th right now. The Athletics need to get 4 runs to get this in extra innings. The Blue Jays have a 4-3 lead over the Tigers. It's a 4-1 lead for the Padres. It's last call for the Mets. They got to score 3 to keep it alive. It is Braves 7, Reds 6 in the top of the 8th. That one too close to call. An AL Central battle. This one is going on the wire. In this game in the 9th inning, it's a 3-3 tie between the White Sox and Twins. It's Cubs 10, Mariners 8. They're in the bottom of the 5th. Runs aplenty. In the bottom of the 7th is they're in Texas. It's a 3-2 lead for the Rangers over the Royals. The Royals are 3-8 on the year. Cardinals up 2-1 against the Rockies. Cardinals off to a slow start. They're 3-7, 1-3 away. They've lost a lot of games at home already. It's scoreless between the Nationals and the Angels, and the same top of the first between the Brewers and Diamondbacks. The late game, 9:45 Eastern. So that should just be kicking off right now. They'll be at the Giants in Oracle Park against the Dodgers. Giants are 4-6. Dodgers are 6-5. Let's take a look at the NBA play-in game.
I'm Dan Patrick, and this is big, but you'll only find it here.
So there is no eliminations tonight as far as the play-in. Whoever wins will get the 7th seed guaranteed, and they won't have to play the extra game. Hawks are in a good standing to do so. They're up 110-99. Let's give you the scoring leaders for that one. So for Atlanta, you can take a guess. It's Trae Young, 8-17 shooting, 33 minutes. He's got 23 points. 17 points off the bench for Saddiq Bey, former Piston. 16 points for DeJounte Murray. On the other end for Miami, is it Jimmy Butler and Tyler Hero? Yes, it is. 22 points for Hero, 21 points for Jimmy. Jimmy, very good at getting the line, as always, 9-11 on that end. But they're down 110-101 with 2:30 left to go in the fourth. The late game of the play-in is the Timberwolves and the Lakers. Again, whoever wins will be the 7th seed. Whoever loses will have to play another game against the winner of the 9 and 10. In between that, between the winner of the 9 and 10 and the 8 that lost tonight, they will play one last elimination game, and whoever wins that one gets the 8th seed. So no eliminations tonight. This is just the winner getting the 7th. The late game will be the Timberwolves and the Lakers at about 15 minutes from now, 10 Eastern, probably about 10:05 tip-off. And without Rudy Gobert are the Minnesota Timberwolves. So this is gone official, and this is exactly what I thought. With New Jersey powering through Buffalo today, Buffalo has been officially eliminated. So this leaves Florida, New York, Islanders, and the Pittsburgh Penguins in the wildcard spot, and is everything that we can see right now, and I'll make sure that I duplicate this window and look at the scores again. But from everything that we see at the moment, this will be big for the Pittsburgh Penguins. They've got to play from behind, and now the Blackhawks have just taken a 3-1 lead. They scored 2 in the second. Pittsburgh scored 1. This will be a bad loss for Pittsburgh, because if the Islanders get a win in regulation and the Pittsburgh Penguins don't pick up anything, let's say the Islanders get a win in regulation, we'll have 93. The most Pittsburgh can get is 92. That's going to kick them out of the playoffs. So they have to hope that the Islanders lose again tomorrow in regulation and pick up nothing. If they lose to the Blackhawks tonight, does Pittsburgh. So, my goodness, never thought that would have happened. I would have, when Cooper asked me yesterday, would it be a guarantee that Pittsburgh can find a way to get it done? I said yes. We're playing the Blackhawks. Well, not right now. They're down by 2.
There's a reason guys wear face shields down there.
Yeah. I don't know that. That's a good look.
And here are the numbers through 2, not counting the glue and stitches on Ryan Carter's nose.
In the double minor that was missed. No, you know what? I thought the Wild Vortex was good the first 20 minutes. The energy was there. I think it's only natural at times to try to make plays inside the blue line, take things up when you don't have success. I thought the Wild did that. The middle 20, and because of that, Winnipeg was able to take over that frame.
All right, so we're about to get into the final 20 minutes of regulation. They are doing some of the other scrapes and getting things together. Winnipeg feels good right now, as they should. There were no goals in that second, but I can give you the quick reset of the first. It was Adam Lowry. Nito Niederreiter had a shot that bounced back to him in the middle of the slot from a Josh Morrissey bomb. Adam Lowry located the rebound, put it past Fleury. It was 1 shot, 1 goal. Mark Scheifele a little bit later in that first, 13-10. Good work from the lineup, Pierre Luc-Dubois and Scheifele. A sauce pass from dot to dot. It found Nate Schmidt unbelievably, not sure how. And his scoring opportunity went all the way back to the left side off the outside of the cage. And Scheifele got the rebound opportunity, buried it. And Winnipeg had a 2-0 lead after one. That's still where we stand after two. And all Winnipeg needs is 1 point. They will clinch WC2, and everything will be done in the West. That's where we are right now. We're keeping track of an Eastern Conference wild card, and the Pittsburgh Penguins, unbelievably, are down 3-1 to the Chicago Blackhawks. If Pittsburgh won their last two games, the one against Blackhawks and their next matchup, they would automatically be in because the Islanders wouldn't be able to catch them. But now it looks like Pittsburgh's not going to be able to pick up any points. So Pittsburgh will have to hope that the Islanders lose again in game 82 and Pittsburgh gets a win in regulation to take that spot, because if they lose the Blackhawks, that's going to be what the situation is. I can't believe it, but the Blackhawks can play spoiler, and they're doing so right now. 3-1 is the score. They could knock the Pittsburgh Penguins out of the playoffs. You know what I might do? Let me see if that's in the. I think again I said that was in the third. What I'm going to do here, if you guys don't mind, I'm going to go back into our featured game. I'm going to look and see if Penguins and Blackhawks and see if that holds up, and then we'll flip back into our game if you guys are cool with that. So I don't normally do this across a featured game, but this is going to be big, and I'll make sure that I put this in the recorder side and designate this for everybody. I'm going to flip for the Blackhawks and Penguins because it looks like the Penguins might go down, and that is going to put a big-time damper to get into the postseason. They don't pick up any points on an inactive Islanders team, and they'll still be 2 points down. That could put themselves in an awful situation. So we have a development. I'm going to flip over for the final 4 minutes of that one, and then we will go back to our featured game between the Jets and the Wild. So for those that are sticking in with me just now or just hearing it late, I'm going to take a look at the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Chicago Blackhawks and see how that one ends, see if Pittsburgh doesn't pick up any points, and then we'll flip back up to our previous matchup, as we call it.
Podcast is your home for behind-the-scenes Hawks access to the field for the front office this offseason.
So for audio recorder purposes, since we have a development, I will flip back to the Winnipeg Jets and the Minnesota Wild. It's still 2-0 Winnipeg as we get set to take on the third period. We have a humongous development here in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh now is down 3-1 against the Chicago Blackhawks with 4 minutes left to go in the third. They're on the power play right now. If they don't pick up any points against the Chicago Blackhawks, they could very well find themselves out of the playoffs, where they would have to have the New York Islanders lose in regulation in Game 82, and Pittsburgh would have to win in regulation in Game 82 to get in. Rather than just winning out and automatically being guaranteed, they might not get anything against the Blackhawks, but they're on the power play right now with 3:55 left, and Evgeny Malkin gets his shot blocked, as this will fall back now. 3:45. The Penguins try to gain the entry there with Chris Letang. As they flip this around the inboard, Sidney Crosby now from Letang. He's near the right side wall, try to get it back to Sid the Kid, but this is picked off by Seth Jones, and they'll flip it all the way down on the other end for Tristan Jarry. So Gino has it now. 3:25 left to go at PPG Paints. This is unbelievable right now that the Penguins might not get anything against the Blackhawks. And again, the Flames found themselves like this last week before they played the Jets. And if it wasn't the case before, maybe they wouldn't have been eliminated by Nashville. But there's a lot of ifs, ands, and buts on that side. But Pittsburgh needs to win a big game right now, and they're losing. As an empty net on the other end. This is a chance for a 6-on-4. So Tristan Jarry has left the goal crease at 6-on-4, and Pittsburgh needs 2 goals. So Ricard Raquel, he lost it. And Chicago takes a chance at the empty net, and this goes off the post of the left side of the yawning cage, and Pittsburgh is still alive. 2:35 left to go in the third. This is another entry here for Sidney Crosby. Letang now toward the right side of the wall is Zach Jones. We'll get it to his defensive part. I think it's Caleb and Seth Jones out there right now. And this will be recollected by Chris Letang and Gino. He's been out there for a long time. Rust will send this back down. And there's some booing right now at PPG Paints of the hometown team. They're not liking what they're seeing. Here's a chance for Rust. He tried to pivot and drag. Now cleared down the ice, and this one goes wide. And now it is iced. 6-on-5. It is an empty net that was just iced as it expired. Boris Matuk able to clear it down. So the Pittsburgh Penguins have an offensive zone draw, but they need a couple of goals here. Jason Dickinson, he got hit off of a previous shot. He's hobbling right on the bench as he's getting a couple stick taps. You see Jonathan Toews out there right now. Again, just good to see him back on the ice. But he said that he is going to self-evaluate and feel how he is after long COVID. They weren't able to trade him. They were able to trade Patrick Kane, but it kind of held them hostage. He was only able to trade to the New York Rangers in the blue shirts, so they couldn't get the price that they wanted on that end. So I'm looking at this NBC Sports Chicago feed, and Peter Mrazek is getting the job done right now against the Pittsburgh Penguins, who unbelievably are down 2 goals. They need to be able to get something out of this game, but they are vastly running out of time here. And once this is done, we will flip into our featured game. 2:06 left to go in the third. Peter Mrazek has stopped 35 out of 36. Again, he was the former Maple Leaf that didn't know where the posts are, but he's played much better in Chicago. Also, the former Red Wing. Getting a live look in before we go back to our featured game of the Penguins and the Blackhawks. Penguins need 2 points. They're down 3-1 to Chicago. The empty net pool. Here's an opportunity for Crosby off the draw win. Here comes a slap shot. Mrazek will swallow it up with the right pad. And we will do this again. 2:02 left to go in the third. We had to take a short pivot as far as our live look-in because this has complete implications in the Eastern Conference wildcard race, just like it was in the Western or featured assignment. So another offensive zone draw win, and Letang and Malkin can't hold it in. Now it's down to 1:55. Jake Getzel now here for Malkin as they try to find Sid the Kid, and this is sent back down across the red line. Sidney will find it off the backhand here for Gino. Now Ricard Raquel. Get this toward the right side of the wall. Raquel being pushed off the puck. It's Malkin. Here comes the slapper, and Letang. This goes off the right side of the window. As this is with the Penguins, they'll shoot this off the backhand. It's a mess in front of the net. And now they can race for the puck. Here's a chip and chase. And Chicago fires it into the empty net. They're going to win this game. And the Pittsburgh Penguins, they won't get a damn thing done. It's 4-1. 1:24 left to go in the third. And unbelievably, the Pittsburgh Penguins are going to go down to the Chicago Blackhawks. And this is going to lead it to game 82. Whether or not Pittsburgh gets in, they will need the New York Islanders to lose game 82 in regulation. And Pittsburgh will have to win game 82 in regulation when it's all said and done. I cannot believe it. But that is a situation that we're in. With 1:24 left to go in the third, the Blackhawks have made this a 4-1 contest. So Tyler Johnson, did they show that this went out the? No, this did go in. I thought they showed something after off the outside of the post that they tried to brush into Crosby. So we'll close out the last minute 15 and we'll flip over. I can't believe it, guys, honestly. I know we've said that a few times in between Nashville and Calgary the other day when Calgary had the lead going into the third round of the shootout loss, but I did not expect Pittsburgh to lose to the Blackhawks. statistically the worst team in the NHL. When you have to win, you have Crosby, Malkin, and Letang. I figured they'd get it done. That's what I told Cooper. But again, these regular season games, you can never tell, as there is a crap ton of empty seats now at PPG Paints. Just a disgusted crowd. They were booing the Penguins on home ice, considering the effort. And honestly, don't blame them. This is what you don't expect this with this type. And now they score. Ricard Raquel off of the rebound from a Letang slap shot. It's 4-2, but there's only 37 seconds left. So Ricard Raquel gets Pittsburgh back within 2. That's where they were with 4 minutes left. They just beat Mrazek off of a third rebound, a tertiary rebound. This might be Danton Heinen's goal. So Heinen gets the backhand. Think he's going to get credit for it. But Pittsburgh running out of time. They're out shooting the Blackhawks 40-26. Mrazek stopped 38 out of 40. But in 37 seconds, they'll be going down here without getting any points against Chicago. And then we'll flip back into our featured broadcast. So Pittsburgh now, here for Letang. They get the neutral zone draw, as this should be another empty net pull here for Pittsburgh. Zaitsev able to get this out, and Chicago fires it into the empty net again. It's 5-2. So Chicago won't stop scoring on the yawning cage, and this is Entwistle. He finishes it off 5-2, and Pittsburgh back down by 3 goals. 22 seconds left to go in the third. Pittsburgh will not get a point in this game against the Blackhawks. Truly unbelievable. So once this game is done, we'll flip back over. More fans continue to leave the seats at PPG Paints. I can't believe what I'm seeing myself. Boos in PPG. As Entwistle gets his 4th, and jeers for the Chicago Blackhawks empty net goal. A pair of them. As this is collected now here for the Blackhawks, Jeff Petrie will fire it in, send this back across, and this is the situation for Pittsburgh now. They don't pick up any points. They lose 5-2 to the Blackhawks. So this is what's going to have to happen. The New York Islanders must lose Game 82 in regulation, and the Pittsburgh Penguins must win Game 82 in regulation for them to take the final wildcard spot in the Eastern Conference. If that doesn't happen, Pittsburgh will be eliminated, and we will figure that out when we get to it. We'll flip back into our featured game right now as boos were raining down at PPG. I can't believe it, but the Pittsburgh Penguins, they fell 5-2. So Minnesota, as we check back in, and I had to switch that over, I apologize. Minnesota just scored. They make it 2-1. All Winnipeg still needs is a point. Dumba slapper. This one swallowed up by Hellebuck. He makes the save. It's now 26 shots to 15 as we transition into our featured contest. All Winnipeg needs is 1 point of any variety, as we've talked about, and they get WC2. They can't go any more forward. They can't go any more back. And if the playoffs ended today, they would be playing against the Vegas Golden Knights. We just checked in from progress where the Chicago Blackhawks took out the Pittsburgh Penguins 5-2, unbelievably. And that side, in Game 82, Pittsburgh needs to win in regulation, and the Islanders need to lose in regulation. That's what Game 82 is going to lead in the Eastern Conference for wildcard spot on that side, and that is what we have. So Brandon Dillon, try to find this now here for the Winnipeg Jets, and immediately I'll pull back up my rosters on both ends as Minnesota gets a chance to try to play defense in their own end as this gets knocked away from Jonas Brodin. Here's an opportunity off the right to left, 10-0. The shots in the period set right in front, and it's 10-1. It got fanned by Kevin Stanlin, so 10 straight shots on goal for Minnesota in this third period. It's been all wild as they've scored a goal to get back within 2-1. Kevin Stenlund again trying to provide the effort, and this will get blown dead and behind the office. We go to commercial break. Kirill Kaprizov gets the goal for the Wild as he makes it a 2-1 contest. They still need another one to tie it up. Jets, all they need is 1 point. They're still holding on to a 1-goal advantage. Come right back.
Ingredients. Let's talk about principles. It's really important for me to have some variety to provide the nutrition that Gil needs, but at the same time, I don't want him to get bored. It's been tricky to find the balance. I've had to compromise a lot more than I'd like. We said we do a tasteful structure. How did it go?
up blue tastefuls available at dry, wet, and singles.
I'm Dan Patrick, and this is big, but you'll only find it here.
Champion Automotive Group Pre-Owned.
Champion Checkered Flag Pre-Owned comes with lifetime powertrain protection, 10-year roadside assistance, and more. And you'll only find it at Champion.
Over 1,000 pre-owned to choose from.
With 7 convenient locations, you win big. At Champion Auto Group, you always finish first. Log on, championautoinc.com.
What's he doing?
He's cleaning the trash cans.
Well, meeting a new young homeowner for the first time is a big challenge.
So you think you can help?
I can try. Hey, what you doing?
Just cleaning the trash can.
Wow. It's important to build trust. See, put your address and phone number around here.
Well, you can never be too safe.
With trash?
Progressive can protect you from becoming your parents, but we can protect your home not when you level with us.
Don't look at the hedges there.
No one's looking at that.
Miles, right off the line.
Well, if he can, he'll probably take trucks to use set to stop that blast from Matt Dumba. That one has to stay up in the shoulder collarbone, but the goaltender his size playing that well, he almost has to shoot for those small areas above the shoulder. Great location for Matt Dumba.
Hellebuck's been great lately for Winnipeg. You saw those numbers. He hasn't had great luck here. Last 8 games.
So admittedly, as we took a look around the league in between Pittsburgh and Chicago, we did a quick update. So Kirill Kaprizov scored on the power play with 2 minutes in the third period. They have an 11-0 shot advantage in the third, does the Minnesota Wild, as they've had to press. Jets just trying to hang on right now, it seems like, as Foligno will get this one off the backhand. But again, all the Jets need is just one singular point tonight, and they will claim WC2. That's why Connor Hellebuck has been in net even off the back-to-back. It is an opportunity for Marc-Andre Fleury to spell some time for Philip Gustafsson. Now this goes near the right side dot as one of the Wild remains down alongside with the Jets. And here's the one-timer. It goes just wide of the blue paint as this is recollected by Jacob Middleton. And now Dewar. Dewar now with Foligno and Morrissey as Foligno will gain the entry. This will go D to D. Middleton let it go through the traffic. It's swallowed up by Hellebuck. Foligno trying to find it, and the Jets just trying to brush this into Hellebuck, but he makes the save as it's picked up on the left side boards. Dylan DeMello goes down as it's cleared by the Jets, and this goes to Jacob Middleton. So Spurgeon, the captain of the Minnesota Wild, now will try to go right to left. I'll drop this back here for the forward, and Matt Zuccarello, in his pass, try to find Kirill Kaprizov, the one that just scored on the power play for Minnesota. What else is new? Kirill's going to be a Minnesota franchise leader in every category when it's all said and done, when his career is done, as this is picked up by Kaprizov. And Kaprizov now will get this here for Mats as he gets a clear in from about 60 feet. And I'll send this back around the end boards. Kaprizov canceled off the puck there as it's picked up by the left side of the faceoff dot. Jets lose it as John Klingberg now with Merrill, and his defensive partner will pick this one back up. Kaprizov now here for Zuccarello. He gains the entry in the middle of the slot, and that'll be a chance here for Hartman. Hartman now trying to find it with the help of Zuccarello as this is dumped down by Josh Morrissey. And Minnesota will recollect here with Klingberg, and Klingberg now with the defensive partner and John Merrill. Gain the red line. They'll slap shot this in off the kick plate as this will fall to the Jets. Jets now will race for the puck there with Jonas Brodin as he'll take a look at it. And now Brodin will leave this here for Marcus Johansson. Brodin will spin. We'll get this to the defensive partner now. Almost turned over as the Jets were alive on that forecheck. Again, they've been heavily outshot in this third, about 12-0. Played in off the backhand, dropped in the high slot. Once it go through the traffic, blocked by the Jets. As the Jets try to locate it now, as this gets knocked away from Eriksson Ek. And now Connor will flip it up in the air and recollected now by Scheifele. Scheifele now brushed away into the neutral zone. Got to go back to D here from Morrissey. Now it's Scheifele. Number 55 will gain the red line and flip it in as it's 10:50 left to go in this third. It's been a fast-moving game at that. There's not been a lot of opportunities up until this third period. Minnesota really started pressing that board 28-16, and that's when we took our look in immediately. That's when Minnesota had their little rush, and now this is back to the same type of play that I've been seeing the whole way through. Scheifele now. Here's a nice backhand entry for Ehlers. Here's a sizzler. And a fall back for Wheeler. His slap shot, he took his time, but it hit off the left side of the glass. That went about 88 miles an hour. As Dylan DeMello, he gets hit very hard and able to stay on his feet somehow. I thought his face was going to go into the glass. As this is sent back down now. Picked up by Middleton. Middleton now will send this back across. This is get across the red line now. It's been all Minnesota in the third, but they've iced it right at the halfway mark. About 10 minutes left to go. Minnesota has taken a 2-1 deficit. They were down 2-0. Kirill Kaprizov. It was Ryan Reeves and Dylan DeMello. Dylan DeMello took some massive body contact from Reeves. It wasn't a charge. He had them all lined up. And Reeves able to deliver the big hit, but DeMello surprisingly stayed on his feet. That was a tough one. So winning the faceoff are the Jets. Fake the slap shot is Dylan DeMello. This one will go right in the webbing, and the catching glove here for Marc-Andre Fleury. And he gets a stoppage with 9:55. So the Jets get within one. Well, the Wild get within one as the Jets had a 2-0 lead, but we'll see what happens now. Winnipeg hold it. All they need is 1 point. Come right back.
Take it from me, Dan Patrick. Champions ready to save you big money.
Shop new Chevys, Chryslers, Jeeps, Dodges, Rams, even new Buicks and GMCs. Plus, shop over 1,000 pre-owned vehicles.
I'm going to flip to the NBA play-in, not the game, but we'll give you our game. I just want to see the scores. So the Hawks get the 7th seed. They beat the Heat. The Heat will have to play in that game. They will be at American Airlines Center for that one because you get the advantage as the 8th seed, even though they lost in 7 out of 8. So the Hawks, they're done with the play-in. They have the 7th seed. The Heat will play the winner of 9 and 10, and the Timberwolves and Lakers are just underway. That one on TNT with 11:43 in the first. So I'll keep you updated until our game is finished in between the Jets and the Wild. I think everyone that is jumped in and out between this. I know we haven't had a lot of comments, questions, or concerns, but that's okay. And I'll see what I can do with the rest of the week as far as the voice and everything else holds up. And there isn't a lot of coughing fits, then we can deal with doing YouTube stuff. If it's all coughing, there's no way I can end up doing things on YouTube because that's all you would hear. Nobody wants to hear that. So we'll figure out for tomorrow and Thursday. That's depending on how I feel. That's how the schedule is going to be. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Saturday's supposed to be a local assignment for the Waterford Sharks and the Muskegon Voyagers as they end the regular season. But if I do have officially COVID on that end, I can't go. I don't want to infect everybody.
Franchise record with 97 points now for the Devils, and their win that eliminates the Sabres. Avs and Oilers are tied 1-1.
So there is a lot to be determined still as far as the wild cards, but it's starting to take shape. We know that the Sabres are eliminated with the big Devils win. We saw the Pittsburgh Penguins not pick up any points against the Blackhawks. That must set up the Islanders losing in regulation, the Pittsburgh winning in regulation, giving it 2 for them to still hold the spot in WC2. So 9:45, we'll have to go in the third. Kirill Kaprizov scored with 2 minutes in on the power play here for Minnesota as they've had a heavy press in this third. Both teams off the back-to-back. But Scheifele gets knocked down with some body contact, but the play is still live. There's a stick that was being brushed, and the referee's still there looking for a trip on that side. Ehlers didn't do it, and this is picked up now. Ehlers here for Kyle Connor. As this is flipped back around, but here come the Minnesota Wild right to left. Vegas is just taking a 1-0 lead on the Kraken over the 5-game win streak. They're trying to make sure they keep wild card spot number 1. That's where they'll be at worst. They were trying to catch the Los Angeles Kings, but since the Kings won the other day against the Canucks, that might make it difficult. I think they're going to end the season, both the Knights and the Kraken, against each other in Game 81 and 82 as we get offside. With 8:58 in the third. John here with you. We're watching in the Valley Sports Minnesota feed on ESPN+. It's 28 shots to 17. Wild are still down 2-1. So in the season series, there was 3 wins to nothing. Favor Minnesota, 14-4 on goals. 109-90 on shots favor of the Jets, but a 4.4 goals against for Winnipeg Jets against 140 on the other end for Minnesota Wild. That's not very good. As this is flipped in now in between the fans, and it will be another offensive zone draw coming here for Minnesota. But even the Jets, they don't need to win this. They could absolutely get swept in the season series as long as they pick up a point in OT. If they get to OT, they're going to get to WC2 no matter what. If they don't pick up any points and Nashville wins out in the next two games, then that's the only way Nashville can get in. They got to win both games in regulation, and Winnipeg must lose both games in regulation. That's the only way they'd stay alive. So Spurgeon now off the win, and this will go back here for Jacob Middleton. Middleton will fire it back around, and this will be picked up, but not before it hits the netting. 8:44, we get another stoppage. This one should be through the neutral zone draw coming for the Jets and the Wild. When this game is done, I will have the complete game story, everything here on the recorder on this side, hopelesssportsguy.wordpress.com per usual. As far as everything else, if I am visited by COVID and things get worse, as I feel that I just started to, unfortunately, as I was gotten a text this morning in between contact, then that might make some issues as far as doing the playoff capsules as far as the vocal side, but not for the written side. I'll try to get that done as much as possible. Good hit on the other end. This is Hartman. And now there's going to be a big time answer near the left side dot. And that was Nikolaj Ehlers with a little how do you do on the other end. He got absolutely sandblasted. And then Middleton, he knocked down somebody on the other end. And Ehlers, they want to make sure that he's okay. He's holding on to the back of his head. He might be under concussion protocol. And if Ehlers is injured again, that may put some damper as far as maybe me thinking about the Jets getting an upset in the first round, because Nikolaj Ehlers is one hell of a player and the Jets can't afford to lose him. So Ehlers racing down the ice and a big elbow the other way as that sent Ehlers down in an absolute heap. That was a massive, massive contact. And we will see what happens here as the refs are meeting up. 8:29 in the third. So there is a player in the box right now for the Minnesota Wild. And let me give a number on that side as far as our box. As it stands in the third, it has Ryan Hartman for interference against Nikolaj Ehlers. We'll see what the refs call at 8:29. So interference penalty against Hartman at 11:31. 2 penalties to Hartman, one for interference and then one for the fight instigating on Vlad Nemestikov. So I think that is a double minor. So this is Hartman with a humongous hit as Ehlers was going full speed, but he went full speed into the right shoulder of Hartman. And then Hartman was trying to take on Vlad Nemestikov and absolutely take on Dylan DeMello as there was just bowling pins all over the place. Wheeler tried to get a punch on the other end as well as things started to get a little spicy. And now Rick Bowness trying to get some words and clarification on that end as we get a little bit of a stoppage with 8:29. So once this gets updated on the ESPN side of the box score, admittedly, I will give it to you. Right now, there is 3 penalties listed. Ryan Hartman interference against Ehlers, served by Zuccarello. It says Hartman roughing against Vlad Nemestikov, and Vlad Nemestikov roughing against Hartman. So that will indeed put Zuccarello and Hartman in the box alongside Vlad Nemestikov. So Winnipeg Jets are on the power play. They need this right now just to get more of a blanket in on their lead. They're only up 2-1. They'd like to get an extra goal here with 8:10 left to go in the third. As this is picked up now by the Jets. Here's Wheeler as he spins this around the kick plate. This goes off the back skate. Here's Wheeler wide open, and Fleury makes a great save as he was all the way toward the right post, and he finds it in between his catching glove. It was Wheeler trying to lift, Fleury found it the whole way and made the save as we get a stoppage with 8:04 in the third. That was a great pass. Wheeler was wide open. Flower made an even better save to keep this at a 2-1 score. So Riley Parenteau says dirty play that's a dirty play on that side. Again, that was a big hit, and yeah, Ehlers will hope that he's okay, Riley, on that side. That's a good call on your part. That was pretty nasty, as this is a chance for the Jets, and it gets blocked before it ever hits Fleury, and now the Wild have a chance to get something shorthanded. It's Gaudreau for Dewar, and this one is swallowed up in the catching glove right in the middle of the circles. Hellebuyck answers, stops it at 7:42. Still a minute 14 left to go on the Winnipeg Jets power play. They would be, I believe, 0 for 3 if they don't score. That was a huge hit, and that was pretty dirty there on that side. I wouldn't disagree with you on that end. So I threw this out. Maybe you're saying no on the first part of it, but do you think the Winnipeg Jets score an upset in the postseason, assuming they get in the Wild WC2? 2 out of 3 say yes. Well, now it's 7 votes, so thank you for that. 71% say yes, 29% say no. So it's sent back down by the Minnesota Wild clear. It's now 30 shots to 19. The Jets still nursing a 2-1 lead with 7:10 left to go in the third, as this is played off the backhand, and this will be off of the skate blade of Neal Pionk. But Nino Niederreiter will collect as he throws it to Dylan DeMello, and then Niederreiter will get a clear in as we've hit the 7-minute of the third period. And this is flipped back down. This will touch the goal stick of Connor Hellebuyck. Again, the Jets are in good standing right now as words are apparently being exchanged at the bench, and all the fans are starting to stand. They were anticipating something here at Xcel Energy Center in the state of hockey in Minnesota, but nothing come to pass just yet as the Wild clear it down one more time. If the Jets can get at least 1 point, again, they are 6 minutes and 30 seconds away from doing so. They lock up WC2, and Game 82 is going to be meaningless against the Avalanche. They won't be able to go up or down, and David Riddick will be able to finish it off, and Hellebuyck can get a rest. He's playing off the back-to-back. Here's Kirill Kaprizov. He was the scorer on the power play as the Wild enter off sides. 6:14 left to go in this third. We get a stoppage. 30-19 is the shot board. Minnesota, they opened it pretty clean. They had the first 12 shots of the third period as Middleton given a series of cross checks to Nino Niederreiter, then a stick whack from Middleton and his porn stash on that side before they come together with Matt Dumba, and nothing was called, although the fans wanted to see some extracurricular as Middleton rocking that playoff stash, not the beard just yet, as we get a neutral zone draw with 6:14. It's Kevin Stenlund against Foligno, and now John Merrill to the other side for John Klingberg. Here's the entry off the backhand. Boldy gets taken down, and the fans want a penalty. They're not going to get one, as the Jets able to brush this in across the red line. They get it in deep. Now we'll see if they'll make a play. Center right up front for it. Scores! Jets take a 2-goal lead. And that is exactly what they want. The fans have been booing endlessly. They just wanted a penalty about 30 seconds ago. And what they're going to have to solve right now is Boldy sticking his foot out, saying he was tripped. I believe this is Mason Appleton's goal. So Boldy, he got taken down. And that was by Morgan Barron. And he got the stick chopped right out of his hands. That could have been a call. As this is picked up near the left side dot, here's the cross pass falling down. Right out in front, Marc-Andre Fleury, no chance. Appleton gets a wide open feed, roofs it toward the right crossbar, and the Jets take a humongous, should be said, 2-goal lead with 5:54 left to go in this third. Mason Appleton, he was picked back up from the deadline just a season ago. His 5th of the year. It's 30 shots to 20 in favor of Minnesota. They had that push, but the Jets, very opportunistic in their goal scoring in this game. You can say that. Connor Hellebuyck been absolutely outstanding per usual. Stopped 29 of 30 as the Jets are 5:35 away from points And now another heavy hit as the Wild rise to their feet. We might get something extra here as it is Ryan Reeves. He's saying F off the Niederreiter, and he's shaking his head. He said, you bet you're going to see something. Niederreiter, he's swinging the door to the penalty box. Ryan Reeves, Niederreiter, had a little bit of a headlock, took his helmet off, and Ryan Reeves just had his fist down in the front of Niederreiter on that end as we went to commercial break. Stick around if we get anything fortuitous. But as it stands, the Jets have taken a 2-goal lead.
With more cars, trucks, and SUVs arriving every day, it's time to choose champions. Take it from me, Dan Patrick. Champions ready to save you big money.
Shop new Chevys, Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge.
So, Riley, if you're still in here, my friend, who are you rooting for today? Are you going for the Jets, hoping to get WC2? And do you see an upset, or are you a Wild fan tonight, or just a hockey fan in general?
You always finish first. Log on, championautoinc.com.
Going with the Jets. I've had a lot of Jets fans over the last couple of days. A lot of them joined me yesterday in between the Flames and the Preds. That was a game that was pretty nuts. That went in the shootout, and Tommy Novak got the game winner that took the Flames out of the postseason. That made Jets' job a little bit easier, and they're taking care of business right now. If I turn the camera to the screen, Chris, they'll immediately take the feed down. I understand that there's not a lot of people watching it, but that would also close out all the times that I want to do play-by-play, especially with the playoffs coming. So I have a lot of these. I can't do that. If I had a lot of other accounts, I probably would be able to. If YouTube allowed it, I definitely would, but I'm not allowed to. So you'll get the play-by-play from me in the game story. I know a lot of people ask that question, and some people I'm happy when they give the explanation without me having to, but just can't turn the screen.
By Minnesota-born players, only Phil Housley can top his name. What a career that Wheeler has carved out.
Well, he's done a lot of his damage against the Wild. He's got 40 points in 43 games.
So with 5:36 left to go in the third, it is Niederreiter and Reeves in the box for a 4-on-4. They're both roughing calls that are offsetting. What we believe to be the case, I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, is that the Jets will get at least their 1 point. They're up 3-1 right now with 5:20 in the third, and they will make the postseason after this game is done. But if the Wild to get 3 unanswered goals and let's say take the lead in regulation, then that will force the Jets to have to get at least 1 point against the Avalanche. I don't think that is going to be the case. But what we don't know is if there's going to be some extracurricular and fighting after this is all said and done. As Ryan Reeves looked like he wanted to go. So Kirill Kaprizov, as this was blockered aside by Hellebuck with the left pad, we're down to 5 minutes now. Johansson tried to send it out front, and this will be recollected by the latest goal scorer in Mason Appleton. The Jets will try to go left to right, as it's 4-on-4 right now. 31 shots for the Minnesota Wild, 20 for the Winnipeg Jets. The Jets have a 3-1 lead with 4:30 left to go in the third. As this goes off an entry near the right side dot. And now this is back in behind the office of Marc-Andre Fleury. As it's sent back across, it's Ehlers. And now Wheeler. It's Kyle Connor off the drop. Neal Pionk tried to send this one in the high slot. And Pierre Luc-Dubois is going to peel back. 4:10 left to go in the third. As this is a chance for the Jets off their change. Kyle Connor will take it. The decor will take their time. Probably okay with the Wild right now because, as we said going into it, they really don't have much of a chance to get past the third seed. Even if it's the second, the third and the second will still play each other. That's all the home ice advantage at that point. So the Wild probably stuck where they are. They won't fall any lower than the third seed, as the Kraken right now have WC1. Jets can only get WC2. And this is still what's made as there's another big hit, and one of the Jets are slow to get up. That was an opportunity as Wheeler got taken down, and the fans continue to love these hits, but I still wonder if there's going to be extracurricular. Well, if the Jets, they just want to get in the postseason. They want to be able to keep their bodies fresh in for game 82 against Colorado when it's not going to mean much, but the Wild continue to throw the pain train here as this is picked off into the neutral zone. Now recollected at D, where it is a pickup now near the right side red line in between the players' bench, where it gets a little busy as it's 2:55 left to go in the third. As the Wild have it, they'll flip it in, and this is ice. Frederick Gaudreau can't get there. 2:52, and we get an offensive zone the other way, as the Jets are 2:52 away from going into the postseason.
612 TSR time.
Watching with the beer, says Chris. Hopefully you're enjoying that one and it's nice and cold. So you're doing a great job on the commentary. Thank you. I think this is almost COVID part of it, but this is early side, so I'm getting through and trying to be as coherent as possible before it takes over by the end of the week. I got an unfortunate text this morning, and I'm starting to feel a little bit about being second in contact, so hopefully not. But I want to try to be here between Wednesday and Thursday before I have to close up shop for the weekend. So Marcus Johansson now gets us toward the right side wall. He'll stay with it now on the high slot. It's the Wild. Fortunate bounce off the outside of the cage. The Wilds could have made it 3-2, but they missed it somehow. Connor Hellebuyck dodges a bullet. And now Minnesota, they're taking Fleury out of the goal crease. Here's the Rocket. And this one's saved. I don't know how that was stopped the first time by Connor Hellebuyck, but then the second one was completely missed. Marcus Johansson now, as it's a chance for Pierre Luc-Dubois. Got some body contact near the left side of the red line with 1:45 left to go in the third. Minnesota pressuring Winnipeg a little bit, but they're 1:40 away from a playoff spot. If the playoffs started now, they'd be playing the Golden Knights, but they don't care about that. They just want to get in. As Mason Appleton brushes this away from the captain, Spurgeon. Here come the Wild again. Here's Boldy off the drop pass. He's got it in the high slot. Boldy patient. Set up a big-time bomb for Dumba, and Hellebuyck made the save. I have to go ahead and take a look at that, Riley, to see if Hellebuyck got a piece of that first one and if the second one shot wide. I know he was down and out, diving like a fish. This one flips out of the air. Zuccarello. Oh, that was off the stick shaft of Hellebuyck as he was down and out. He did make the save on Zuccarello out of a puck that was battled out of the air. My goodness, Connor Hellebuyck, the Commerce Township, Michigan native, keeps this a 2-goal game as he knocks it away with the paddle of the stick. What a save for Connor Hellebuyck as he keeps it a 2-goal game. That was absolutely hellacious in that stop. And now Dean Evason will take a timeout as Minnesota will look to restructure and continue to make their push. They've made a hell of a push in this third period. They opened the third period with a 14-0, I believe, shots on goal advantage. It was Winnipeg being very opportunistic. They got 2 goals in the first period that stood all the way through to the first 2 minutes of the third. Kirill Kaprizov scored on the power play, and then on the other end, Mason Appleton got his 5th of the season to put it back to a 2-goal advantage where it sits 3-1. It is Winnipeg with 1:24, and then they will get into the postseason. Picking up any sort of point today, they're in good shape. 1:24 left, they're up by 2. You wouldn't think that there's any way that this would go the other way, but this is where we are right now with 1:24 left, as I see some people starting to jump in. They're noticing what's at stake. Winnipeg Jets can clinch WC2 in the West. They get a defensive zone draw. They first have to get past a extra attacker here for the Minnesota Wild. As this is put out in front, Marcus Johansson lost it. As this is sent back down by a Jets clear. This will be a race for the puck. That's picked up by the Minnesota Wild as Jonas Brodin negated the icing, and now Jared Spurgeon as they're down to a minute. The captaincy's got it here for Minnesota. Spurgeon trying to get around a couple of bowling pins as we hit the 55-second marker. It's Matt Zuccarello, picks it up off the steal. And Zuccarello now puts us in behind the office of Connor Hellebuyck here for Matt Boldy, the 7-year, $49 million man, as another late hit. This is Johansson, very slow to get up. Spurgeon knocks down one of the Winnipeg Jets. What is going on right now? Marcus Johansson gets absolutely leveled outside of the camera feed where I can bring it to you, and he's holding on to his right arm. There was a couple cross checks against the Minnesota Wild and the Jets, and now they're pushing again. If you're the Jets, you just want to get into game 82 without having to get any bumps and bruises. But there has been a lot of bad blood between these two teams. What's known is the Jets are 46 seconds away from clinching a playoff spot, but they're going to need to get some Band-Aids. And that was a big hit on the other end for Neal Pionk. He says, take this to Marcus Johansson. He speared him right into the right side as that's a cross check by Pionk. Yes, you called it, Riley, on that end. You would think that's got to be a blatant penalty. Again, that's probably an answer, is it not, Riley, for the Ehlers hit on the other end from Hartman? That's got to be the obvious statement of the world to make. So offsetting power plays are not going to matter. But you're correct, cross-check by Pionk, and that's got to be a little bit of an answer there. That was against Johansson, a little bit of an answer there for the one that Ehlers had to swallow up against Ryan Hartman. This game's getting nasty a little bit. We knew that there would be some intrigue, but I didn't expect toward the end of the third period when the game has kind of been, I wouldn't say a formality, but these guys are going to be leaving with some bumps and bruises. At least for Winnipeg, you're going to know that game 82 is not going to mean much. Probably on the other end for the Wild as well. That was a big cross check by Pionk on Marcus Johansson, and that one hurt right up in the rib area, right on the right side. 46 seconds left to go in this third. I'm going to be here with you a little bit longer because the Zebras will have to sort out penalty calls on either end, and we will see what comes of it. We know there's going to be one against Winnipeg. So there isn't updated yet on the ESPN box score, admittedly. This is still at the 14:24 marker for Ryan Reeves and Neil Niederreiter with the offsetting roughings. We're under an official's review with 46 seconds left to go in the third. The scoreline is a formality at this point, but the official review will decide who will be going to the sin bin. Got to imagine there's going to be a major for cross-checking, maybe. Major penalty of Pionk for cross-check. You knew that was coming. Again, I will agree with what some of the comments are on the other end about a dirty hit for Riley on that side, and he's correct. Maybe he could have called a 5 on the other end, but Pionk going to get tossed. He's done. That's not going to matter for the rest of it. But Minnesota will be on the power play for the rest of the regulation. They would need to get 2 goals in 46 seconds for this game to continue any further, though. They're down 3-1. So Winnipeg Jets will be on the kill. There should be a formality here, but we will see. With 44 seconds, Kirill Kaprizov now try to get this one picked up from Matt Zuccarello into the neutral zone. There's Matt Boldy. Get this here to Zuccarello. Kirill the Thrill will drop it back here for Jonas Brodin. Here comes Jared Spurgeon. Brodin fake the slapper. Here's Kaprizov. Centered it in the middle. And now we get a big fight. And this is a chance now. Some big fists being thrown. And one of the body contacts is already down for the Winnipeg Jets. But the refs blow this dead before it really gets underway. It was Dylan and Hartman. Dylan was able to take Hartman down. And Hartman didn't get a chance to respond too much. And Dylan will go into the dressing room, and so will Hartman. They're done for the rest of the game. So that fight lasted about less than the 2-minute rule, you'd like to say. And again, I will leave that to your imagination as far as that's all done. But the fight that was quick on the other end was a chance for Dylan, and he fed a few overhand rights to the bottom of Ryan Hartman, and players will be getting tossed. That's what Riley's saying. You are correct, my friend, as Brandon Dillon got some good shots in Ryan Hartman as he was taken down to the ice. So it was a quick fight. It was a definitive fight. Dillon wins it against Hartman. They're gone. We still have 27 seconds left to sort out. Is Ryan Reeves going to drop the gloves? He's back on the ice right now. in the Minnesota power play that doesn't matter too much. Everybody's standing. They got their camera phones out these days. Can we get something here with 27 seconds left? And here we go. It's a chance now for Ryan Reeves to throw the fist. This is what everybody wants to see. And we will see what happens here. As it's Lowry against Reeves. They haven't thrown anything yet. They're staring it down. And here we go. Ryan Reeves with 5 overhands on Lowry. It's rock 'em, sock 'em. They can't get Reeves just yet. Big overhand. Reeves taken down. And Lowry will get a stoppage here. So he had to swallow about 6 overhands for Ryan Reeves. But Lowry gets the takedown. We knew that this was going to happen at this point. There's been a lot of blood right now, especially in this game. But I would imagine over the series, the Jets will get the last laugh as far as the win. They will get into WC2. But, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if these two teams meet in the postseason, would you be sad? They wouldn't meet in the first round, but would you be sad if these two teams met again? Because I think this would be a lot of fun. So it was Lowry, the opening goal scorer. He faced off against Ryan Reeves, a couple glancing blows and toward the arms, immediately of the left arms of Lowry, as Lowry now trying to get across the face, just glancing blows across the shoulders and the arms, but maybe Lowry will be a little bit sore. Still 25 seconds left to go in the third. That was a time where I had to put the voice of COVID or not on that side, so we'll figure that out. 25 seconds left to go in the third. Rick Bowness says, here you go. What do you want to do? Do you want to get kicked out? Do you want to stay in? You can't stay in past the player's bench. That's what he's saying to Ryan Hartman. Now we have fighting to be sorted out. Still 25 seconds left to go. And I will be here with you until this game is officially closed. Again, we know the score line's probably completed. And we know the Jets are going to get into WC2. But how many more fights will we see? We've already seen a couple in the span of about 10 seconds. We still got 25 seconds left to work. And then all the Minnesota fans will probably be going in between the play-in and between the Timberwolves and the Lakers. So 20 seconds left to go here for this third, as this will fall back to Middleton. As it's Spurgeon off the stretch pass, it gets away from Dewar. Now down to 10 seconds, as this is an opportunity one more time. This will go back across D a few more times as the seconds tick down. The Winnipeg Jets clinch WC2. They're moving on to the postseason. They take down the Minnesota Wild 3-1. They win the first game in the series. And if the playoffs ended and it started tonight as far as the regular season, they would be taking on the Vegas Golden Knights. They don't care about that at this point, as they will be in Sin City. But the Jets have made it official. They clinch, and all the spots are done now in the West. All that's left is the East. Is it going to be the Panthers and the Islanders, or will the Pittsburgh Penguins have something to say? They shot themselves in the foot, did Pittsburgh, with a 5-2 loss to the Chicago Blackhawks. They got that in the interim in the beginning of the third period of this game. So in order for the Pittsburgh Penguins to get WC2 in the East, they would have to get an Islanders loss in regulation, and the Penguins would have to win in regulation in game 82. Maybe that'll be my next contest before the end of the week. Stay tuned for that. Have a good one, everybody. Thank you. Thank you, Riley. Thank you, Chris, for sticking around. It was a lot of fun. There was a lot of good fights at the end of it. And I hope you guys enjoyed the broadcast. If I'm feeling well enough, we will see you tomorrow. Peace, guys.